cried. A new dawn breaks across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight? Good to see you all. How you doing, Dr. Jade?
How you doing? I'm doing okay. How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a really crappy week. I'm sorry, guys, for starting late. That was me. We were all talking in the backstage, and I went, 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden I realized that we're live, and I forgot to hit the button. I'm sorry. What's up, everybody? Let me see. What's that?
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Angela? Good to see you. Pam, good to see you, girlfriend. Pakka's here. We know. Slim's here. Let me see. 40's here. Is my sister here? I thought my sister's here. Carrie Ann, how you doing, sis? Hey, Louie's here. Awesome. Good to see you, Lou. Chris, what's up, my brother? Don't know who you are, but welcome. Good to see you. Take 2 drum covers. There you go. All right. Hey, what's up, Simon? What's up, guy? All right, man. So, let's see. Oh, my brother's here. Jimmy from Philly, guys, is in the house. All right, so here we go. Tonight's a first for this channel. All right. I've had the privilege of joining our 2 guests on their turf more than once. But now they're finally crossing over to ours. I've gotten to know these guys pretty well, and I love them. They're really good. From the UK, please welcome 42 and Pakka. There you go, guys. How you doing? How you guys doing today?
Hello. How are you? I'm
good. What's new? What's new on your side?
Well, you've been hearing all about it, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, actually. But I want to hear you guys talk about it.
Welcome, Pakka. Welcome, 42.
Well, about just chums. Rich, thank you very much for inviting me on. I am absolutely delighted to be here. I love your stuff. I love what you do. The way you give good, accurate, thorough news coverage.
Oh, thank you.
So
appreciate that.
Thank you very much for the
you guys being here. I mean, it means the world to me, man. Love you guys.
Yeah.
So let me just show for a second, if we ever get to it, because you know what? I think we're just going to talk all night between us. But if we do,
can you boost 42 volume?
Boost who?
42.
Oh, you can't hear him? Yeah, I could boost him.
It's
Sure.
pretty low.
Is it really? Oh, all right.
Oh,
Well, he's at 100. Yeah.
possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was possibly a bit far away from the mic.
Oh, that's much better. That's
Yeah,
much
that'll-
better.
there you go.
That's what it was. Oh, and another thing that I've got to say, I should have told. I was supposed to send Sensum a message last, like Sunday or Monday, to let him know about the stream, and I've got a head like a sieve, and I've been busy, and it went down in my fucking head. So he can't make it tonight. He would love to have been, and he sends his best wishes.
Yeah, like him too. Yeah, I would have liked to have him, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, get him on next time.
Yeah, I only gave him like about 5 hours notice, and he just couldn't. So it's. But it'll work next time.
One other thing, Pamela says she can't hear me. Can anybody hear me out there in internet land?
You guys, can you hear? Sing Mary Had a Little Lamb.
I can hear.
Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went,
We'll put you up to 100.
lamb
All
was
right,
sure
100.
to go.
I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Everybody out.
You don't have an echo, but it sounds like you're in an acoustic nightmare. But you sound good, though.
Barely hear. We can hear. Okay, so
Okay, good. Well, I just up there, Pam. I just up there to 100. So maybe now, maybe now should be better. I don't know. Maybe talk closer to your mic. That's why I got this thing up.
muffled. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a better setup for like next week or the week after.
Good. That'll be great. Love to hear about what's going on in the UK regarding the infiltration of Islam and the government's inability to do anything about it. Yeah, we were reading some stuff on that today.
It's not
Yeah.
an inability to do anything about it. It's a refusal to do anything about it.
That's what it is. Yeah, it seems like they're refusing to do it. And I apologize in behalf of the United States because I still believe it was Obama and Hillary that started all this bullshit from them going. When they had that in the Middle East, when they had that so-called Arab Spring, which wasn't a spring at all, and they got them all riled. It was when I think it was Mubarak was taken out, the dictator of Egypt. And he was a dictator for one reason, guys, for reals. It was a dictator for the United States. Because Israel told Egypt, if you attack us one more time unprovoked, we're going to blow up both of your dams. Do you believe us? And they were like, yeah, I guess we do, right? So I think we installed Mubarak, and Mubarak had a bunch of terrorists. Hey, what's up, Willie? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
But the beginning of mass immigration to Great Britain, United Kingdom,
Right.
started with on an industrial scale. Started whenever Transport for London began opening recruiting depots in the Caribbean in
Right.
the 1950s. And they then promised those people they promised them cheap passage and a job and somewhere to live whenever they arrived. And that's what made it possible. So if you're thinking it's anything that happened in the last 10 years, you're at least 40 years behind the curve with it. Do you know what I mean?
Say this, though. Let me say this in my defense. What they did was when all the ruckus happened, they told the people there, they sent the word out through, I guess, CIA plants. They said, or however the hell they do it. They said, all right, just go up through Greece and go across, and we'll make sure that they accept you with open arms, or we'll call you racist.
Yeah.
So I know the setup was there for a very long time, and they didn't like the Brits because of Sykes-Picot and all that. I understand all that, but in fact, Obama tried to break up Sykes-Picot, and remember when he said go back to the 67 borders and all that? He wanted to go further back and just get rid of the lines and go back to what it was prior to that. And so they just settled on, go up through Greece and go across. They won't stop you. We'll make sure. And they did. They had the State Department go to countries in your continent and told them, hey, you're going to have some refugees coming in. They really need you. It would be a horrible thing to look like a racist. That's not what they said, but I'm sure it was around.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was pretty much around there. And that's when you guys got, at least, now Obama tried that shit with us, but he only got like that one summer, he got like 250,000 youths in here, right? But it was Biden that really betrayed us with the 20 million that he brought in. But you guys, oh my God. Yeah, you guys are, you guys got problems.
I honestly think the people that are running the shindig have realized that they are coming to the end of their power.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get the system broke and collapsed before we can take over.
Yeah. Well, you know what they're doing here. Trump is right now. It's one of the stories I would read tonight. Trump, he's ordering a new census. You don't do that except for every decade, right?
Yep.
He's ordering a new one because we have overwhelming evidence that 2020 census was rigged. The count was rigged to favor Democrats. But this time what he wants to do is do the same census but no illegal aliens in the count. I don't know how it works for you guys, but over here what happens is if they're in the number of population inside of a state is how they base the federal grants they get, right? Yep. And then states or the cities inside a state base population of their cities on how they get grants from the state. So it goes from the feds to the state down, right? Nobody can do anything on their own anymore. So we dumbasses here in the U.S., we send money from the city and the state out to the feds, and then they wiggle it around by paying people to shuffle the money, right? And then they send it back to us if they're kind to us. And I'm like, why send it at all? Why do we do that? Why do we send that shit in? But that's what we do, but I don't know what's going on over there. But, I mean, you guys got problems with this immigration thing. We all know it, too. We've seen it. We read the articles. What do you guys think you can do?
It's going to come. The only way this can be combated is on a very micro level, as in each individual area just band together.
Right.
Like the housing estates, we are coming down with these things called housing estates. They'll probably be similar to Section 8 housing, but you've got your houses, you've got your local shops, and everything's all sort of self-contained.
Right.
All you really need to do is kick everybody that doesn't think like us out of that estate and tell the police to fuck off out of it as well. And then your little microclimate will be fine. And if push comes to shove, you can block off the 2 or 3 entrances and use are fine inside there. That's what we're left with. And the unfortunate thing is, the English don't seem to have cottoned on and have not started to self-segregate yet.
Yeah, I know. I don't get that.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. It's like the leaders have money coming to them for it. It has to be. I always follow the money. Hold on. Special K, am I sounding better? You were right, because this damn StreamYard, I set my default mic, right, which is this one, and then it goes to it transfers it over to the mic on my camera.
Yes. You've got to go in the settings 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. So let me see. So I know. Well, Trump's doing it through our census. He's getting rid of the illegals that way, because if states can't get money in, right? Hey, what's up, Linda? How you doing, girlfriend? Is he going to polite about the order? Yeah. Sounds like too much game. Oh, get out of town. All right, let's try it again. He could be messing. No, I'm at 90. I'm not even at 100. All right, no, there's not a lot of game. It's the same filter I use for my videos, but anyway. Hey, what's up, Sheila? How you doing, girlfriend? See, everyone's my girlfriend, including Special Kid. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm back. Go ahead.
Everybody has a chance to hit that like button. It would be good.
Yeah, that would be cool. Thank you, guys. Please hit the like button.
Yeah. Whenever you're doing a census, you're only supposed to count the people that are there legally.
Uh-huh.
Like, you shouldn't even really be counting the prison population, or that number should be sort of off to the side, so as you know the total amount of people you need to provide for within that country. And the thing that I really don't understand is we have these people who say they want to take in the migrants because they want to help them. But I don't know how you help anybody whenever you have no idea how many people you've got in your country, which means you don't need how many people you need medical care for, how many people you need schools for, how much internet bandwidth you need, uh, all of those services, how much policing you need. All of that is dependent on population. And if you have increasingly large numbers of undocumented people, those numbers are going to be off, and then nobody's going to get it. It's
Right.
madness.
I apologize. I have to go out and come in again because my mic is all screwed up. And the only way to do it, I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, there's a strong rumour that the supermarkets know what the population is because they're feeding them.
Yes, the supermarkets and the mobile phone companies, and they both reckon that there's a 1.5 million or more people than what they're supposed to be, which for a small country is a hell of a lot.
All right, how's that? Am I better now? I have to be.
Well, you sound better, and once you signed off, I could actually hear the other two guys where I really couldn't hear them before.
Yeah.
So it was you,
I am
Rich.
stunned.
Yes. All that
It was
feedback.
you. It's you.
Yes.
No, it's not me. My mic would have Rich. That's so funny.
It was not me. It was my mic.
It was not you. It was your mate.
Yeah, what it
your
was.
mic.
Yeah, it.
Your mate.
I checked it before I came in, right, to make sure it was the default. And I come in, and it just automatically switched me over to my webcam, which is the worst mic in the world. Which is why
Things are sounding much better now, Rich.
Good.
Since you stopped messing us up.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that, people.
All right. It was getting to be a little painful.
Oh, that's all right. Let me see if I want to see the one. What was it? Well, let's go over. I want to show what stories are out there if I ever get to them, but I put them on the board.
That's another question. How weird and wild do you want your stories this evening?
As long as we don't get a strike, you can do whatever the hell you please, man.
Yeah.
You just put them up, and I'll bring them up if you want to read one. I'm just going to go over what the headlines are. Here we are. Project Veritas strikes again. The whistleblower says Bill Barr, that was Trump's AG, right, in the first term. Bill Barr held secret meetings to plot prosecutions of Trump and block his political comeback. Can you believe this? Then we have Jack Smith. He's the guy that the feds got.
Haven't I said this before? I've said this before. We are so glad. We all have to be so glad that actually we lost 2020. We didn't realize it at the time, but if we would have been stuck with the likes of Bill Barr and everybody else that he had, we'd be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, Trump learned. You're right. Trump learned so much in those 4 years that he had to sit on the sidelines. He learned a lot, and he had a lot of time to plot as well. So Jack Smith, he's now the hunted. It says, but this new plot could be his final blow. The SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, it greenlights Trump's plans for large-scale firings. In fact, he's finally going to drain the swamp the way it should be. He's doing all kinds of firings. So he better step up his Secret Service protection because someone's going to try to take him out again. Trump secure. This is just a history of his first 200 days, all the major wins he got. And here you go, James Comer. He's a congressman. He's a chairman of what is it, the government oversight or what is it? I forget what it is, but it's an important one. He warns the Clintons about the consequences of not complying with congressional subpoenas because you remember Peter Navarro, who was a money guy for Trump in his first term, and Steve Bannon, who wasn't even in the administration after 2017, right? They both ignored the January 6th committee's bogus subpoenas saying that they fell under presidential executive privilege is what it was. And executive privilege goes beyond the term. And they put their asses in jail Here you go. Remember Beto O'Rourke? What a dumbass. Beto O'Rourke led group under investigation over potential bribes to help run away Texas Dems. The Democrats ran away because they wanted to stop a vote that would allow for the redistricting in Texas, and they're absolutely going to get it passed because there's so many more Republicans than Dems. But they ran away because if they don't have a quorum, the quorum is you need so many people in order to vote on a bill. So if they took off, right? Well, they didn't seem to realize that the governor, Greg Abbott, said, all right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to go after you. The sergeant at arms, if you're still in the state, he's going to arrest you from there and bring you in. And if you're out of state, AG Ken Paxton came up and said, yeah, if you're out of state, he said, we're going to use extradition orders and we have the rights to do it. Now, a lot of libnuts out there say, you can't do that. Well, sure as hell you can. Sure you can, because there's no law there is a freaking law that says that you can't screw a quorum up for political reasons. And that's what they're doing.
And
did the
if
Democrats not at one time go into somebody's office in Washington, basically break down their door and have the security physically carry them to the house?
Yes, that happened. It wasn't January 6th, but what it was was when they went in there and they went into the Senate pro tempore, which is Grassley. They went into Grassley's office, they trashed it, and they got caught. And I don't think any charges were brought against them. I really don't.
And Ken Paxton has asked the FBI, because if there's charges of bribery, then you can actually have you can ask for federal help. And apparently Ken Paxton has sent over to Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel has said, yeah, we'll have the FBI round them up.
Yeah, it's unreal. It's unreal what's going on. And you know what's happening is all this stuff is being released. And it's stuff that they had in burn bags. They heavily classified all this crap. Think about it. They broke the law. They committed treason. Why wouldn't they get rid of the evidence? Are they that freaking arrogant that they thought we would never find it? It was in a vault in a CIA building.
Well, they are that arrogant.
The problem is somebody makes it, the way governments work, you make a file and that's for your use, but then somebody takes something out of that and uses it in something else, and then somebody takes something out of that and uses it in something else. So the same information can be in 4 or 5 different places. Right. And the person who originally made the document, they've got rid of all their stuff, but this residual stuff's not on about, and that's what they're finding.
Right. So what they did, Glenn Beck did an hour special on this, and he points out that a lot of the stuff that they just found, there's no question about it. No question. I believe, like they're all saying, like Trump even came out and said that he believes Obama will fall under presidential immunity. I don't think so. The Supreme Court broke it down into 3 scenarios. The second 2, no immunity. The first one says with immunity, it says if the president is acting in a presidential action, okay, it's an action that he is taking that is official. Okay. And it's at an event that is an official event for the president, then he can do anything. There's immunity. Okay. Within reason. He can't commit a murder or something. But I don't think that what the SCOTUS meant was treason. It's not, the president is not acting in a presidential action when he commits treason, and he committed treason. So I don't think he's covered under it, but what do I know?
To get presidential immunity, the act would need to be lawful.
Right.
Lying to the public is not lawful.
But see, here's the thing. The Democrats, look, there's no dumber group of people than Democrats. I'm sorry if anybody out there is a Democrat listening to this, but y'all are dumb. I mean, you are just fucking dumb, because they went around screaming when this ruling came out saying, wow, that means he can walk down the street and shoot somebody. It's like, yeah, just go walk down that fucking street and let him go down and shoot you, dumbass. You're worthless. But that's not what they said at all. I just described what they said. And you can't tell a libnut that.
They get so wrapped up in the actual wording of the laws that they forget everything about the intent of the law, and those two things are genuinely connected. So they're not reading things properly.
Well, they don't. Go ahead.
They're that used with taking definitions and stretching them until they have no.
Well, the way they think,
in reality,
right? The way they think is, honestly, these people are they're crazy. The way they think is, okay, if this ruling helps me and my ideology, it's awesome. If it doesn't, you're a bigot. That's how they think.
Yep.
Exactly how they think. And they think that the Constitution, parts of the Constitution, are only lawful if a court tells them so. There is nothing in our Constitution that says that the Supreme Court is the final word. Nothing. It's not there. I see. No matter if there was, they don't care. Yeah, that's right. That's why it's so sad that we are being replaced by the scum that cares not about environment and animals. It's truly only U.S. that care about it. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, yeah, the religious guy, I remember, is right about stupid people. And look what happened to him. Bonhoeffer, yeah. It's sad, man, what's going on. But, you know, at least a lot of people in this country are waking up. They really are. Because the Democrats they may be lower, but last week they were at 19%. That's like what, a 25-year low, something like that? That's unbelievable. They're at 19%, and they're still trying to act like they're in charge. That'll never end. But let me go back to this. So here we go again. China. What's with the new virus in China? We've got the deeds. They're coming out with another virus to spread around the world because Trump's in office. These bastards. President Trump's Oval Office announcement reveals just how badly Joe Biden failed on the economy. Ghislaine Maxwell cleared Trump. DOJ she cleared Trump. Now they're all going to go, well, of course she did because she wants to get a pardon. He never offered her a pardon. FBI whistleblower reveals the real reason Trump's name was in the Epstein files, and it's not what the Dems want to hear. And then we have I didn't do too many this week because we got guests. So I just wanted to get that out there so that I can say I did it.
To the best of my knowledge, Trump was in those files because at some point he accepted a lift on
the
Epstein plane from like New York to Florida or something like that, that the plane was going anyway. And this is something that people at that level do. And the other reason is because he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, that is true. But he's also in there because, all right, and I think this is what happened. Billionaires hang out with each other, right? They just do.
Yeah.
He met with Epstein. Epstein was a school teacher. He taught math. All right. Then all of a sudden he's like a billionaire, and he does hedge funds. What? You know, so it was either Israel, the Mossad, or it was our CIA, or both that threw the money at him. Said, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to entrap people using sex of little kids on an island. We'll buy the island for all that crap, right?" So Trump gets involved in him not knowing he's doing all that because he said the minute I found out what he did in Mar-a-Lago, tried to get that girl, tried to pimp her off. He banned him from Mar-a-Lago for life, and then he's the only one that helped a lawyer. A lawyer came out, and he was being interviewed on the street, and he said he had several clients that were victims of the whole Epstein thing, young women, and so the guy asked him. He said, "So what about Donald Trump?" And he goes, "Well, I'll tell you what." He goes, "We sent letters out to all the big important people that would be involved in this." And he said, and Trump is the only one that replied. He said, he called me and said, "I'll give you all the time you want, and I'll tell you everything I know about Epstein. I hope I can help." He's the only one that did that. Right?
Epstein himself came out and said he was sure that Trump was the one who turned him in.
Yeah, right. Well, what happened was, I think what happened was that what happens a lot of times is you go to a bank, like Trump was an entrepreneur. He was building buildings, right? He was building golf courses, stuff like that. And I think that a lot of times when you go to a bank, for whatever reason, it has nothing to do with you. He had great credit. He had a great company, right? But in New York, there was a time, was it in the 90s or the 80s? There was a time where real estate was for shit. And a lot of the big guys went down. he did bankruptcies to save his companies, right? And he did bankruptcies the way they were supposed to be done. Not to say, I'm not paying any bills and screw you, I'm going out of business. No, he did it to save the businesses, right? And with the bankruptcies he did, knock out all of his bills. He didn't do that. He did enough just to save the companies because he felt bad if all those people would lose their jobs. So he gets through it, and now they say, oh, he lost 400 business. No, he didn't. Okay, they're freaking liars. But I think what happens is the billionaires will then lend each other money to do a business project. They get a much lower rate. You can do this legally, right? You don't have to be a bank. You can loan somebody money and charge interest on it. And I think that's what he was working on with Epstein. But then he found, and that's why he was hanging out with him for a little bit, had several pictures taken with him and with Melania and Ghislaine. And then what happened is the Mar-a-Lago incident happened and he booted him out. He never had anything to do with him again. So I think that might be why he's in there. I don't know of anything else. I was listening to Whitney Webb. She wrote One Nation Under Blackmail, which is a really good book that talks about it's about the world's clandestine services, if you will, and how they created a Jeffrey Epstein. And she has so much information that every time you've done a chapter, you got to sit back and go, holy shit, I got to read that again, because she throws so much information at you that you can't take it all in one time. It's amazing, this book. And she tells all. I'm surprised she hasn't been shot, but she tells all. She does not like Donald Trump. She doesn't. Because I think he was involved in several shady business deals, but they weren't like illegal. They weren't criminal. Right? And it's like one of those deals where, like, well, they all did it. You know, oh, well, it's Trump, so he's bad. Everybody else is okay. Right? But you guys don't have any scandals like that across the pond, right?
Oh, fuck. First off, Trump is a successful businessman. You can't do that without playing to the edge of the rules.
Right. Exactly
So
right.
He played to the edge, the limit of the rules, but not past it. Oh yeah, what have we got in the UK that's like that? Well, our Labour government has just had to sack their homelessness minister because she was making her private tenants homeless, and they had to sack their corruption minister because she was caught with corruption. It's absolute fucking madness.
I know.
I have a question for you guys, though. What happens? You know, apparently nothing happened. Apparently there were victims, but no perpetrators. There's no list. There's no perpetrator.
Oh, yeah.
So what happens? Does Prince Andrew come out and say he wants his titles and medals back now?
Yeah.
See where I'm going? Because he was stripped of all his medals and titles, as I recall.
Who was? Sorry.
Yeah. So if there were no perpetrators, then he wasn't guilty, sort of.
Yeah, I don't know.
I imagine he doesn't want to make a big splash about it, though.
I'll tell you what, and I will say this. I don't give a damn what Trump did. As long as he didn't diddle kids, I don't give a damn what he's done. I'm still going to support him because he's the first president in my lifetime, and I'm including Reagan in all this. And I loved Reagan, but he's the first president in my lifetime who actually gives more of a shit what I think than what the bankers think and what the other politicians around the world think. He truly is an America First president, and we are sick and tired of the globalists screwing us over. They think that, you know, it's like the old communist thing. They go, oh, well, you guys, you know, you capitalists, you just walk around with your plate overflowing with food, and all the people that are down below, you know, the proletariat, they got to eat off the floor from what you drop. You know, bullshit. You know, I mean, our middle class people, you know, our working class and middle class people, you know, they've been shit on for the last 30 years by our own people, by our own leaders. And we're just sick and tired of it. So Trump comes along and goes, well, you know what? Like Rush Limbaugh wrote a book and it was called The Way Things Ought to Be. And he caught so much shit for it. But he pointed it out, like, guys, what we're doing here is not how it ought to be. And Trump is actually showing that. He's saying, like, guys, you know, we should not have illegals in here roaming around free and getting government money. That's not the way things ought to be. And he's going down the line. Yeah, Biden, nothing low. Yeah, he did nothing. Yeah. I think it was you, Take Drum, who said earlier in a comment, he's right. He said that there was a chart that came out today or yesterday, whatever, recently, that said that Trump in his first term, that middle class and lower class people made out better with the tax cuts. Now, the way that the lib nuts like scream about that is they come out and they say, well, the rich got so much more money. Well, yeah, jackass, because they paid so much more money. So if everybody's, just for shits and giggles, you know, my Catholic school math, if everybody gets 10% cut on their taxes, then someone who paid $5 million in taxes is going to get back a hell of a lot more than somebody that paid $60,000, right? But you can't explain that to a lib nut. But I digress. Yeah, Georgia Maloney. Europe is spinning out of control, except for I love Georgia Maloney. I really do. When she got in, I just do, because she's the one that wanted to get rid of her own illegals there, and she wants to go back to like conservative values, like family values, you know, religious values, the things that made the world great.
And wasn't she the one that when they had the, I don't know if it was the G7 leaders, that they were all out in the field with the paratroopers coming in?
Yeah.
And Biden started to wander off like a toddler.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And she was the one, it was like, take off my world leader hat, put on my mom hat.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was hilarious.
Go herd the toddler. Okay, I'm back. Here's my world leader hat back on again.
You know what? You know what's funny? She did it so as not to embarrass America any more than we already are by that guy. I think that's why she did. She didn't want him wandering off like a mental patient, you know, and she just grabbed his hand and she didn't even look at him to make a thing out of it. She did it so cool.
Yeah, she went over, she heard it. And did you notice that I think one of them was the Japanese PM?
Yeah.
And
food on the fish. Yeah.
And somebody else. And when she brought him back, they kind of closed ranks on this side.
Yeah.
You know,
it was amazing. And they did it because they didn't want to embarrass the United States by the embarrassing president that we have.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying to take care of him, you know. So,
unreal.
Well, there's a bit of self-interest in that, because if you realize that one world leader can be asleep at the wheel and everything all still continue, then it puts your own job in a bit of jeopardy, because do we actually need these fucking figureheads?
Right.
Fuck, the government in Northern Ireland has been closed more than it's been open since we had the Good Friday Agreement. And you know what? See, whenever the government's closed, the lights still stay on. The bins still get collected. Everything all still works just the same on fucking autopilot. So I think they're partially worried that if Biden can wander off and, you know, go all doolally, people might realize here we don't really need too many of these people at the top.
Right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you know, what's funny is the leftist. I know rhinos, because Republicans do it too, but not the conservative or the Trump, the MAGA people, but the rhinos. They do it along with the Dems. Everything that they do is a money grift. Everything. And it's with our freaking money. All those NGOs that they would create NGOs and then get the money from USAID, would send it to them. And then they said that like I think Doge found out that like 85%. What's up, Curious Georgia? They said 85% went to themselves as salaries and expenses for traveling. What? You know, and that's what they do. They didn't see, they looked for it too, because they knew they would catch hell for reporting that. But they said, no, there was nobody in the Freedom Caucus, which is like the conservative Republicans, the only ones in the Congress that give a shit about the country and the Constitution. And they said there was none of them that were involved. None. So the left, it's just, you know, I always say this: Satan one day was encouraged to create a way of life to help him conquer the world, and responding greedily, he named it liberalism. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Shall we read a story?
What's that?
Shall you read a story?
Oh yeah, sure. I could. You guys got one you want to read? 40?
I can come up with something.
Right, I'll read one now, and then you find something.
Right.
And we'll put it up for you. I'm going to read, if you don't mind. It's every day for speech. It's going to be the one about Britain. And it's
Perfect.
not too much to read, but there's a video, but I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's like an hour long. I'd be just crushing it. So let me see. Let me bring this up. Okay, here it is. Why Britain arrests 30 people every day for speech. That's nuts, guys. That's nuts. In this engaging trigonometry interview, Lord Toby Young found what's that?
Oh fuck, trigonometry.
Yeah. Lord Toby Young, founder of the Free Speech Union, discusses the UK's Online Safety Act. Don't you love it when the lefties, they create these flowery sounding names? The Online Safety Act. Safety from who? Safety from you bigot. I mean, that's what they do. They make everything sound real nice and above board, and really it's shut up, conservatives. So, and the implications of free speech. He traces.
But before you go any further,
Sure.
see the Russian guy with trigonometry?
Yeah.
His father was an oligarch that was kicked out of the country by Putin. Then he came to Britain and went to a private school, and then he popped up doing this. It's all a little strange.
Yeah.
But
Probably a lot stranger than we think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me get through this. He traces the act's origins to a moral panic over children's exposure to harmful online content like self-harm sites and pornography, initially introduced under Theresa May's government and expanded under Boris Johnson. Young criticizes it as overly broad, leading to excessive content removal by platforms, fearing massive fines or jail time for executives. Yeah, because it's just like our Patriot Act. It was supposed to be against terrorists, foreign terrorists. And then they put it against all the people, right? Obama did that. He's the one that turned it around and sicked it on the American people. Well, the same thing here. Every one of these pricks in government that say, "Oh, we're going to stop hate speech," and well, then they're the motherfuckers that get to decide and define what hate speech is. I mean, our people went nuts with that. You know, hate speech was if you say anything against the vaccines. Like, wait, what? You can't say anything against what? You're a medical doctor and you can't say something about it in your medical opinion? What? And that's how here we finally got rid of it.
And it was twice as bad in Canada.
Yeah.
You could not even suggest to a patient.
It's called China.
Anything. And even now, if a patient comes in or parents come in, either a kid comes in, I forget what age, but they can actually be underage, or kid comes in with their parents and they say, well, I think I'm transgender.
Right.
You are not allowed. It is malpractice, and you will be sanctioned if you suggest anything but moving forward. If you suggest maybe to get a little counseling, if you do anything but 100% buy-in, you're in trouble.
I did a story on that, and we talked about it on here, and it is younger, and they do not have to tell their parent. That's what they voted on when I was doing the story.
Yeah, I forget the age.
These jackasses actually brought up a bill to vote on, and it was, we're going to allow minors to say that they need the mutilation surgeries, and I don't want to tell my parents. I would be like, that's why we own guns. I would visit these doctors and say, who the hell do you think you are, without telling me about that? Because what the lib nuts have done is they've made it seem like when you try to protect your own children, that you're evil. You have to have those kids taken from you because the child wants to have his Schwanzstücke sliced off, and he's going to have his Schwanzstücke sliced off, and sliced off. And if you come along and go, yeah, we're not doing that craziness, they take your freaking kid away from you there.
Yeah.
They literally will take your child away from you. I read a couple stories where people had their kids taken away because they said, no, we're not allowing that. I think about that. Mom, I want to shoot some heroin. We're not allowing that. What? I'm under arrest. That's the equivalent.
And California, it keeps getting better. California just put in a new law that any, quote, responsible adult, close quote, can put in an affidavit and become a guardian of your child without informing you in advance. And suddenly somebody else is the guardian of your child.
Well, did you know that Hillary Clinton, in her early career, when her husband was still a governor in Arkansas, she came up with this Children's Defense Fund. And what it really was, they got money and all from donations and whatnot. But what it was she was fighting to get laws in Arkansas, and she figured they'd push them to other states then. But she was pushing for laws in Arkansas to allow a minor child to divorce their parents. They're not married to their parents. But that was the language that she used in it, to divorce her parents. What the hell was that? Anyway, he says he traces the acts. All right, we did that. Young criticized it as overly broad, leading to excessive content removal by platforms fearing fines or jail time for executives. He highlights how it has resulted in age-gating innocuous material, such as speeches and grooming gangs or historical blog posts under the guise of child protection, while failing to include robust free speech safeguards. See, in the United States, they would do something like, we don't think it would be healthy for a child to not get a vaccine. So we're going to say that when you say that to your child, you're being harmful to the child. This is what they do. And see, they hate Trump because he goes, that's a bunch of horse shit. We ain't doing that anymore. And he just throws it out. He doesn't care. He takes the hits. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. And, what was the meeting? What was the meeting? The G20 or something? And there's all this free speech going around. And the German delegation was one of the guys from the German delegation. He stands up and said, of course we have free speech in Germany, but naturally there's some things you can't say.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Does 42, is that some sort of like a European thing?
Germany has a hell of a lot of Holocaust denial laws. Yeah. So he's possibly alluding to that, but there's the hate crime laws and whatnot have also come in Germany, to the best of my knowledge. I think are pretty much solid across Europe. So saying, yeah, you are free to say whatever you want, provided we agree with it, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, but the really interesting thing is, although we have all these free speech infringements, we still have all of the mechanisms for properly asking the government for redress. And you can make your complaints and they will work, but they just really want you to go through their system. And what the benefit for them, to the government for that, is that those complaints aren't public out in the mainstream. They're done individually, privately through their system. But the thing about it is, it also means that if you go about it that way, then it's all documented. And when you have a large glut of complaints about any single issue, it's impossible for the government to hide it.
Wow.
It's really crazy.
All of our governments are crazy now because people, and this is the part that gets me. They're constantly saying that Trump is a fascist. I asked them when they say that at work, I'm like, what has he done that makes him a fascist? Oh, everything. Okay, everything. What? Name one, not two or three. Just name one.
And I usually ask people, okay, what rights have you lost? Tell me one. What rights have you lost?
Yeah, and they can't. And that's when they start name calling.
Yeah. And that's when you know you've won the argument. I heard this week that Britain stopped publishing the numbers on immigrants. Is that true?
They stopped what?
They stopped publishing the numbers on how many immigrants were coming
Well, the
in.
Bidens did. Yeah, the Bidens did.
No,
You know
no,
what?
in England.
Oh, in England. Oh, I don't know about that. 40.
Yeah,
what do
no,
you
just this
Pack,
week.
are you still here? Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still
he's
here, yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of you guys, can you tell me, is that true? They I guess they had a website that had numbers of immigrants that were coming in, and they stopped updating it as of like March or April.
I'm not,
They get you have to ask, and they guess all year long, and then they tell you at the end of the year how many they think it was, and then about 6 months after that they revise it by another 500,000 up.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're just dicking you around.
Yeah.
the other thing is they get really creative about how they want to classify somebody into which group of people, because they could possibly describe they can describe economic migrants as asylum seekers. They can disguise adults as children. They can find all sorts of ways, and they can just simply lose track of a whole load of people and then forget they're about the place. Here's a really interesting thing. These people, whenever they're coming to anywhere in Europe, the first thing they do is they destroy all of their documentation so nobody knows who they are. Now, maybe I'm a bit harsh or cynical, but I would love to be in charge of collating and dealing with these people that are totally undocumented, because every time somebody phoned me up, they asked me where Slobber Up and Down McCocky Bitch is. I'd be, well, tell me when your daughter Slobber Up and Down McCocky Bitch entered the country, because we can't seem to find her. You may look where she was last definitely known, because we ain't got her. And if you thought that you were going to somewhere that would persecute you, you would definitely want people to know that you've been there. It shows that they have no fear whatsoever of the state.
Yeah, they don't have fear.
And they just hide a lot of stuff, because even over here, I see news articles about young British girls being, can I say the word for, assault?
Snuggle struggled?
Yes, that one. And they won't point out that there's all these underage girls, and 85% of these assaults are being committed by Pakistani Muslims, and they won't release the guys' names. They won't allude to it. You're kept in the dark.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a fun game we play in the UK. Whenever the news announces that anyone did anything, the fun game we like to play is that if it was a true Englishman, they will immediately announce his name.
Yeah.
Of course.
And where he was from. If they don't announce his name, they just say a man from Sheffield. This is a clue to this man is not from Sheffield, because his name
is
is
not English. And he's not English.
They're not telling him his name because he doesn't sound like John Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if they come on and they say Nigel Broadsworth committed something,
Yeah. Well,
but,
after they don't tell you his name, you then play the fun game, because it's like, so what was the crime? Well, it was a stabbing in London. Well, let's guess what that guy looked like then. Or it was, I don't know, an assault in Bradford.
Can you share that picture I just put up?
Yeah, there we go.
Here,
Oh, wow.
Dr. Cheers. See that house that's on fire?
Mm-hmm.
That's the house that belongs to the people that tried to rape kids in Ballymena in Northern Ireland.
Oh, there you go. That's called justice being meted.
Yeah.
So
That's how they settle it there.
Yeah. Strangely, the people that did it and all of the people like them left the area that day. It's amazing.
And nobody remembers anything about what they look like, right?
There's a couple of people have been caught because they did something really stupid, like showed themselves walking into that house, and then posted it to social media. But no, everybody at that thing's got the same story. I was standing right at the back. I don't really know what was happening. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's like when something goes down and, you know, of the 100 people in
Oh.
the club, and of the
Oh,
100 people in the club, 98 of them were in the washroom.
By the way, our local community representatives, also known as paramilitaries, went and had a word with these people and said, by the way, you need to leave. And they were like, fuck yous. And the paramilitary says, well, I'll tell you what it is. We're the people, but we're here to ask you politely. And we've told the mob to let us deal with it. And if you don't agree with us and leave, we're going to tell the mob we tried and walk away. And that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute.
So,
Welsh choir boys are evil. I was a choir boy when I was a kid.
so
When I went to church.
42, what you're saying is the cops kind of look the other way.
No, the cops, the cops couldn't get close to it.
Cops.
the cops couldn't get close to it. So the mob arrives, and you've got one hit squad that's doing the house, and at the other end of it, at the other two ends where the cops could come in through, you've got the other two hit squads to stop the cops getting in.
Yep.
Okay.
And it just gets.
They literally were the only ones right at the back who couldn't see what was going on.
Yeah. Yes, the cops were. Oh, and the other thing is the police have a lot of experience about what's happening in Northern Ireland and when it's best to wait until things calm down. Because if the police had attempted to go in and physically stop that, there'd have been dead police officers.
Yeah.
And it's not that Northern Ireland hasn't been known for what do you like to call them? The Troubles.
Yeah. Oh, we've got this down to an art.
Yeah.
It's crazy when people have to take.
It kind of sounds like an IRA kneecapping to me. Not that I ever was involved in one, but
well, it's the other side. This is the UVF and UDS is the British Protestant people doing that. The IRA are busy looking for more immigrants to come into their areas.
Oh, the IRA is for it?
Yeah.
100%. Wait a minute, they want more immigrants coming in? Why?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because they're not Irish nationalists.
Oh.
They're communists.
They were.
They're communists masquerading as Irish nationalists.
Oh, have they always been that?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Right. So the troubles began in the current batch.
Listen to this, man.
Right. The current batch of troubles began in 1969 with the Civil Rights Campaign.
Right.
In 1968, in Paris, France, there was a communist. Wasn't an international, but was a congress, the Communist Congress in Paris. And in 1969, after that, the French people took over about 4 square blocks of Paris. The Quebec supremacists were formed. The Basque terrorists were formed, and the Tet Offensive happened, and the Civil Rights IRA began in Northern Ireland, and that was supposed to be the beginning of a worldwide communist overthrow of the countries, which obviously didn't work. But we still had, had the Marxists in Ireland went along and said, "Here, we want to be communist. We want the communist." Sinn Féin's main Sinn Féin's stated goal is the creation of a one-party socialist state within the island of Ireland.
Huh.
That's what they've been fighting for. But getting people to agree with that would be incredibly hard. So what they did instead was went, these British bastards are destroying us, so we need to get them out.
Look at Billy. What have I walked into?
Yeah.
What's up, Billy? Good to see you, man. Wow, I never knew that about them.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you're ever surprised about why all these people seem to have the same ideas, it's because they go to the same conferences. Oh, and by the way, I was looking at photographs there the other day of the Sinn Féin ones with the leader of Hamas.
Did you say Sinn
Sinn
Féin?
Féin.
Sinn Féin.
Yeah.
Sinn Féin leadership with Hamas.
Sinn Féin
they're-
with us.
Yeah,
With Hamas. Oh,
Hamas.
crap. What are they doing with Hamas?
Well, the same thing that you always did with the PLO. The Palestine Liberation Army and the Irish Republican Army worked hand in glove forever. Where do you think the Provisional Irish Republican Army got its weapons from? It was from the Middle East.
Wow.
It's really crazy. These are all interconnected socialist terrorist groups, and they all work together.
Can I ask, in the UK, are there any conservative parties at all? Something that would be the equivalent of an American conservative?
Nope.
No? Wow.
Rick,
Because you guys seem conservative to me, right?
There's a party in Northern Ireland called the Traditional Unionist Voice, which would be as far right as you, or if not a little further right. But they're the only current ones. The Reform Party looks like it is, but it's really not. But the really interesting thing is the Reform Party is ripe for takeover. If we got a bunch of people that think like us, that had a personal vote, that could get to stand for reform, and they understood that their brief was to stay within the current Overton window, but get positions at the top of reform, wait for the current one, wait for Nigel Farage to buy out, and then bring in their own policies. You'll find that whenever leftists get elected and suddenly they've got these really extreme policies that they never spoke about before, that's because they had that all through the campaign, but they just kept it quiet. And we need to learn to get in, take positions of power. Reform would be really easy to do it in, and then take over whenever the time's actually right.
Yeah,
Rich, you don't have to go too far to find basically a one-party system in Canada. It's basically two parties, the Liberals and the Progressive Conservatives, but the Progressive Conservatives are kind of between mainstream liberal and libtards.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go.
The Progressive Conservatives are kind of somewhere left of mainstream American libtards. The Canadian Progressive Conservatives, they're leftists.
See, the difference on our side is that the lib nuts say, "Well, you conservatives, you want everything to stay the same." No, we understand there's new versions of software. We get it, right? But the thing that we don't want is for you to say, "Screw the Constitution." We don't live by that anymore, because the way we look at it, the lib nuts always call it a democracy. It's not a democracy. All right, we are a constitutional republic, and we do have democratic ways of doing things, like when we have an election for governor inside of a state.
It's a representative democracy you have.
Right.
Representative republic.
Representative republic.
We call it constitutional republic because
but I think the issue with your system is that whenever the difference between America and here is, say, take a state, Texas, and all those counties come back and give their result, then you add them all together and the electoral seats go to whichever it is has the most. I think you need the counties to be able to send back their own representatives, because you've currently got a situation where about 5 cities are controlling your whole country.
Yeah.
And that's
Not
not,
anymore.
yeah,
Not anymore. They're being taken down
That's
right now.
yeah,
They're being
that's going
dismantled.
away.
Yeah, they're being
That's-
dismantled as we speak.
That's
Yeah,
going
the thing
away.
that's going on in Texas right now, it's going on in all the red states. And what's happening is they're doing redistricting. Okay.
Right.
And when they redistrict, when the Republicans do redistricting, they're trying to steal and cheat an election. When the Democrats do it, they're doing it for glory and for love of their fellow man. And all the
Crotchet's
bullshit.
going to
they try
get
to throw.
canned, isn't she?
Was that?
Crotchet. She's going to get the can, isn't she?
Yeah, she's getting the can.
Probably.
Oh,
I
see,
like
I'm
that.
disappointed. I'm
But-
so
but-
disappointed. She
Well,
is.
what's going
You
on? I
guys-
know. She was a lot of entertainment. She really
She
was.
was,
Now-
yeah, she was 10.
Here, Rich, talking about redistricting, I live in Belfast, and my city council deals with our bins, water, all that.
Right.
My city council district is now reaching as far as the next city over,
Yeah.
because they expanded it that much to get the voters that they wanted into the fucking system.
Yeah. Well,
It's
Yeah.
oh,
What
go ahead.
what you get here is states like Massachusetts. Trump got about 35% of the votes. You know how many Congress members we have, Republican Congress members in Massachusetts? None.
None.
Connecticut. Trump got 35 or so percent of the vote. You know how many Republican Congress members they sent?
No.
None.
Right.
Illinois, Trump got nearly 40% of the vote. You know how many Republican congressmen they sent? Less than 20%. California, Trump got nearly 40% of the vote. You know how many congressmen they sent Republican? Like 15%.
Yeah. But there was something
And-
worse. There was something
But
worse.
the funniest part was to see the governor of Massachusetts get up there and pound the table and say, if they do redistricting, we're going to do redistricting and they'll be sorry. And everybody's going, you already don't send a single Republican to Congress. What
Right,
are you
exactly.
talking about? You
Here-
silly, yeah.
Here's what's really going on, though, right now. We had the Voting Rights Act in 1965, okay? And the Voting Rights Act was a very noble thing. It said, look, they said, the Republicans, they said, we want black people to be able to vote without being discriminated against or having the living shit beaten out of them by the Klan. That was a pretty noble thing, right? But the Democrats from 1986 on, because in 1986 there was a case, it was a Gibson case by the SCOTUS, the court, and it said it made a couple of changes for how parties could redistrict. And so what the Democrats did from that moment on, and everybody was afraid to say anything, they started doing what was called majority minority districts. So in other words, the majority of this district are minorities. Now, I don't know how the hell that works. If you're a majority, you're a majority. So what they did was, think of it this way. You have an entire county, right? On one end, on the east end of the county, you have black neighborhoods, black communities. The rest of that county is white neighborhoods or Hispanic, whatever it is. Then over here is another, on the other side of the county is another black community. So what they did is they said, due to the Voting Rights Act and the Gibson case, that we're going to redistrict. We're going to take that black community here. And then there's a single road that goes for 10 miles out to this other community. So the district's going to be these people who live here and that road going for 10 miles where nobody lives on that road. It's just the width of the road. And then we're going to incorporate this other one. So what did they just do? They created a district for representation, which would obviously be a black congressperson, right? But I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm saying that they did this just to gain power to create their own seat. But they also split up white conservatives. So now a lot of white conservatives lost their districts and were kicked out of Congress. They did this all throughout the United States, and it's what kept them in power for years. So what's happening now is Louisiana v. Clay is a case that the Supreme Court just mentioned, but they kicked it to the next session, which starts in October, first Monday in October, right? The movie was great. Go see it. But what's going to happen is they're poised to knock this out, to say, yeah, because what Clay's argument was all the way up through the ranks of the courts, Clay's argument was, look, what they're doing from Gibson of the Voting Rights Act is a violation of my 14th and 15th Amendment rights. And so far, the couple justices that spoke on it went, yeah, pretty much looks like that. So it looks like that the court is going to throw that shit out. And when they do, guess what? The Democrats lose power for about 3 generations, because it was the only way they kept getting elected was with these special majority minority districts throughout the country. And so when that happens, even in blue states, they'll be forced to stop these. Right now, the blue states can't do anything. You had Kathy Hochul, you had Gavin Newsom, and you had the idiot, what's his name? Pritzker. Thank you. In Illinois, right? The 3 big blues, right? Well, to get even, the Republicans in every red state, they're redistricting, and they're doing it to wipe out Democrat seats. And why? Because they're allowed to. Okay. So what's happening is in the blue states, what's going on is they're coming out, and like Newsom came out and said, well, we're going to redistrict in ours and get rid of Republican seats. Well, they can't, because these dumbasses years ago virtue signaled themselves into a corner. They created, can you believe this? They created commissions to be they're independent commissions, which means they can't threaten them. They can't pull money from them. They're independent, right? And they got to go to the commissions to be able to get the right to redistrict. Then the commissions have to go over it, and they have to have committees, and they got to say, oh, can we do this? Oh, geez. So they're not going to get anywhere near, even if the commission said, yeah, we'll start today. Well, the midterms will be over and done with by the time. So what they're saying right now is and this was all Donald Trump's idea. Okay. He spread it among the governors. They had a governor's meeting of red states, and he told them all, this is what you do. And we're going to be in power forever. And we're going to give the American people back their land and their constitution, their freedoms. Right. So this is why I love Trump, because he has that idea. No other politician in my life said, yeah, we're going to give you back your freedom. It's going to take away all this bullshit. Right. So what they're saying now is that if they do the redistricting as of right this minute, they would start the next session after the midterms in 26. They would start with 217. You only need 218 to win. The Democrats have between 40 and 50 seats up for contention. All they need is to win one. They're the majority. What they're saying, though, is as more and more of the red states are doing the redistricting, they believe that the Republicans in the House will start with 230, which means they're going to be in the majority for generations, right? And that's when they will become corrupt, and I will no longer call myself a Republican, all right? Because that's what happens. Power corrupts all, and it's absolutely true, right? But for now, the guys that should be in charge are very good. They're the MAGA America First people, and they don't go out of their way to fuck you over. It's very rare in politics, but this is a very rare time that we're in. We have really good times ahead of us.
You know, I'm not a Republican. I do not call myself a Republican.
Right.
I call myself a Trump supporter. I call myself MAGA. Right. I call myself independent, especially in my thinking. But, you know, if you want to know how not Republican I am, just bring people up like Lindsey Graham.
How are you registered?
What?
What are you
registered? Am I registered? I'm registered independent.
Okay. Are you really? Good for you then.
Yeah.
I only registered Republican because I'm a registered Republican. I'm really a populist nationalist, but go ahead.
But and one of the good things about registering as an independent, at least here in Colorado, I can do a primary for either party. So if we get AOC as one of the primary contenders for president in 28, I am going to freaking vote for AOC to be president. I want her to be the Democrat nominee for president in 2028. It would be the biggest gift that the Republicans have ever received, well, since 2020.
Right.
The full-on Manchurian candidate.
Yeah, really. Well, that was Obama.
No, well, AOC would be a Manchurian candidate in that she's only got the job that she has because she applied for an acting job as a congressperson.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah, so the Chunk Uyghurs Super PAC, they got a whole bunch of people and gave them training and gave them speechwriters and everything, and then they got like 4 of them elected, and AOC's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
was
mean,
Justice Democrat. Yeah, it was Cenk. He's Cenk Uygur. I call him Chunk Yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was behind that.
AOC, she's popular for whatever reason, but she's not very smart. And
You're right, Chris.
I mean, she's all flash and no substance.
Oh yeah, none. Yeah, she won the contest, is what she did.
Yeah,
She
basically.
didn't want to go. Her friend was going. She went along with her, and they said, "Here, you try out too." She went, okay.
And one of the big reasons is because in the Democrats, they want people who don't think for themselves because they want people pulling their strings. They want these people out front, but they don't want them to have their own personal power. They're going to pull the strings and tell them what to say.
Correct.
And that starts right up at the top with George Soros and his people.
Yeah, he's getting nailed too for a lot of the shit that went on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Hang on, let me see what I can do. Image file. There we go. Let's go down here. All right. We're going to play a little game. Name something that triggers a Democrat. Go. I'll start off. Freedom. You guys in the chat can play. What's that?
Having to work.
There you go. Guys in the chat, play along. Something that triggers a Democrat.
Meals.
There you go.
Oh, fuck.
Common sense.
The Second Amendment.
Education.
There you go.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep, you're right. Yep. Come on, guys, chime in the chat. Name something that triggers a Democrat. Capitalism. Guns. There you go. You got it.
Yep.
What else?
National flag.
There you go. How about national pride?
Yep.
For real.
Patriots.
Yep. Abortion. Well, anti-abortion. Yeah. That would trigger.
How about just like white people? They get like
Yeah, white people. Yeah.
You know, me, I'm kind of different. I don't really care whether somebody's white, black, or purple. It depends what kind of person they are.
Right. The truth. That's another one. Oh, there you go.
Oh, Jesus. There you go. That's a good one.
There you go.
Jesus.
Men. Reality. See, now they're
There
playing. Mentioning Trump. Yeah, that sends them off. Austrian painters. Yeah, Hitler. Yeah, mention Hitler. They go off. Physical reality. There we go. All right, guys. You guys are always you guys are the best. White couples. There you go. Guns. Nice.
Correct definitions.
Oh, I've got another one. I've got
Real women.
I've got another one.
Real women. Yes. Go ahead, Jade.
Men dress like men.
There you go. That drives me. How about let's just call that heterosexual. Yeah, capitalism for sure. Yeah. Hetero couples. There you go. Yeah, that's one. It's all in the game. Yeah. It's all in the game, right? Come on, come on.
Responsibility.
Responsibility. Yeah, here's one. MAGA.
There you go.
They go nuts. Wearing a red MAGA hat. That drives them crazy.
Having good genes.
There you go. Yeah. Especially in the States right now with that crap that's going on. How crazy is that? Clayton Jenner.
Saying anything negative about something they approve of.
Exactly. That's another good one. But let's see. Working. Yeah. Sovereignty. There you go. How about a border? Jeans or G's. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of so in other words, guys, we just proved there's a shitload of Clarence Thomas, top. Ding 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 ding.
Go.
Simon wins.
The Colorado Glacier still being ice.
Let's see.
Yeah, I saw a meme some time ago. It's like, if conservatives are racist, how come this is the Supreme Court that we want? And it was nine Clarence Thomas,
Yeah.
9 times Clarence Thomas
Thomas
sitting.
Sowell. Oh, Tesla. Oh yeah, Tesla. Thomas Sowell. Yeah, you bring up a Tesla and they want to kill you.
Yeah.
How crazy are you? Yeah, big juicy steak. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, climate denials.
People enjoying themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. The lib nuts, they will go crazy as long as Americans keep having a good time. And then they spread it to the rest of the world.
Functional
I'll be more
family.
specific. It's white people enjoying themselves. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got one. Motherhood.
Yes.
Yeah. Real mothers.
Motherhood.
Yeah. Yes, real mothers. How
Real
about that?
mothers taking care of the family.
Yep. America first drives them nuts.
But yeah, I think women looking after children, I mean, there's something about that just, unless it's two mommies looking after children, they're okay with that.
Yeah, they are.
Somehow.
Let's see. A man is a good Christian husband and father. American flag, yeah, that drives them nuts too. Saying that we are a republic, that drives them. Oh, pickup trucks, you got it. Pickup trucks.
Pickup trucks with American flags.
Yep. You taking off, Pam? I saw some. The things are
I would
coming
put an American flag on my truck, but I'm not sure it's going to have the right effect here.
in. Yeah. I know. But for us,
Cooking bacon on the barrel of your rifle.
there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, do you guys have pickup trucks over in the UK?
Yes. They're not common, but they are a thing. Generally, there was always like flatbeds for industrial use, but
For delivery, yeah.
yeah, but nice pickup trucks have become a thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because when I was over there in we went all around Ireland, and this is about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't remember seeing a single pickup truck when I was there. Now, they had what I guess you guys call people movers. We call them
People carriers.
People carriers, people movers. We call them minivans.
Yes.
And I especially remember a street. I can't remember what city it was in. And I'm going down this street, and I'm driving, and I'm thinking, wow, this is a narrow street with cars parked on both sides. I figured, what's that? Logic?
Logic is a good one, yeah.
I'm going down this street. There's cars parked on both sides, and I'm thinking, it's a good thing this is a one-way street. You can barely pass by one car here without lubricant, and suddenly I see a car coming the other way. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
It was crazy. Some of the driving in Ireland was pretty interesting.
All right, that was fun. We got to do that more. That was pretty fun. It lit up the chat.
There you go.
That was good. Yeah, 2 + 2 = 4. That's another good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of 5, right?
Well, depending on what culture you grew up in, 2 + 2 might sort of kind of mean something different, and you can't be tied down to exact answers,
Yeah, and who knows exactly what 2 means?
Did anybody mention chromosomes? They don't want to go there.
Listen, all I know is if I got some damn engineer building me a bridge, I want him to have studied and be very didactic in basic mathematics. That's what I tell you right there.
Yep, 2 genders. Yeah, when you say there's 2 genders, our progressives lose their ever-loving minds.
Yeah. Didn't you know there's 87 genders, you bigot?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I think they had 77 on Facebook when you sign up.
I thought it was 87.
Oh, was it 87? Holy crap.
I identify as an attack helicopter, which is actually quite interesting because there's enough attack helicopters now that we're getting on the other drop-down lists. So you have one of these weirdos, whenever they've signed up for something, they're all excited about putting in their made-up gender. And whenever they go on the drop down list, they only get about 2 or 3 down. It says attack helicopter. They're going, those fucking MRA bastards making stuff up. And I'm like, it's as legitimate as all these other made up things.
Yeah, homeschooling, that's another one. They don't like homeschooling. I'm surprised they haven't banned it in our country. I really am. I'm surprised they haven't banned that. Yeah, where is Uncle Bobbity? We haven't seen him. Is he here? Is Bobbity here? I didn't see him.
Can you check the list?
Oh, there he is. There he is. Yeah. The real
Hi,
question.
Bobbity.
There it is. The real question is what doesn't trigger a What's up, Bobbity? Good to see you, man. I was wondering about it. I was like, where's Bobbity? I haven't found anything.
Yeah, no, that's true, because
true.
I think you and I, Rich, were talking about that before we came online, that you were talking about the game, and I think that's what I said, is that what doesn't trigger them.
Right. Exactly. What doesn't trigger a Democrat? Next time will be what triggers a progressive. Completely different animal. A lot of them will coincide with each other, but yeah. Let's see. Yeah, reposting what Democrats say. They don't like that. That's how you heard of libs of TikTok, you guys? Did you hear that? It's a girl who just all she does is she goes over to TikTok and she finds things that they say. She finds things that they say and
that are rather inflammatory,
outrageous and crazy, like when they do, like when the teachers that had the green hair and the bone through their nose, and they were doing all the woke shit, you know, and now they're a man, right? And they're you know, they had pronouns and all that crap, and they're teaching kids. Well, they would do all their crazy shit on TikTok, and she would just take what they posted, didn't change a thing, would post it on X, and they would go out of their minds. Just go out of their minds. And so what happened was she became very popular on X, and the left, there was I forget her name now, but she was a Washington Post girl. She's since been fired because she sucks. But Taylor, what was her name? Taylor, I forget her last name, but
Taylor Lorenz.
Yeah, thank you, Taylor Lorenz.
Awful piece of work. And about 98 by all calculations. She is 98 years old at least.
And then did you see when Taylor Lorenz, she was doxing, and she like went around and
yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Went to somebody's home, and then what I'm getting at is when somebody did that to her.
Yeah.
And she broke down in tears.
Yeah, she cried on the air.
How can you do that? You know, Elon Musk said it. When you step in the arena, you step in the arena, you better just be ready for what you're going to get. He said that because people criticized him for being pretty sharp with people, and that's what he said.
Yeah. So anyway, they doxed her, and her entire family had to go into hiding.
Couldn't happen to a nicer person.
I know. No. I meant Raina Chet, whatever her name is, the girl that's lives on TikTok. Yeah, she had to. But you know what? She wrote a book, and like their children's. I think she has like 3 now children's books. She's doing really well on that, and she still posts every single day.
Well, I hope that I was hoping Taylor Lorenz had to go into hiding.
No, nobody. She's a lib nut. Who's gonna go after her?
I mean, she's just
Chaya Ricketts. That's
she's
funny.
Person.
Chaya Ricketts. Oh man. So what's going on? What's going on? Like I'm bringing it back to this. Are your politicians doing absolutely anything about all the illegals coming in, or they just saying fuck it, we're making money off this?
It's like I keep saying, the system isn't broken. The system is doing exactly what the system is designed to do. They are just telling you that it's broken and they can't do anything about it.
Right.
While they continue for it to do what they want. And I don't know where this is going to go next, because unlike in your country, we've got zero control over what's happening. Doesn't matter who we vote in.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Our
Zero,
path,
zero.
our course is probably set for another good 8 years before we get anybody in that's going to put the brakes on.
Wow.
Zero control and zero guns.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We're along for the ride.
Yeah.
The
zero
population.
guns. That's a shame, man. And we were on the same path. Like our Democratic Party and the Rhinos. I'm always going to throw those assholes in there, but they stopped listening to their constituents years ago. I mean, years ago. Now the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party years ago started. They're not a national party anymore. They're a coastal party. So they cater to the elites on the left coast and the east coast, and sometimes in Illinois, but they cater to the wealthy now that give them money, because not a lot of people anymore donate like $5 here, $10 there. You know, they get the millions and millions and the billions from the billionaires and that want a special interest. You know, they want a special interest in when they get in. That's how they always get a payback. Like you'll always see whenever we have like a minimum wage increase, right? The Democrats always push for them. Oh, we want the little guy to have money. It's a bunch of horse shit. What they're doing is the unions throw a ton of their dues money at Democrats to get elected, and it's one of their biggest. That and the lawyers union. They're the two biggest unions that donate to them to get reelected. So what happens is the unions tie their salary, many of them, if not all, they tie their salary to the minimum wage. So if the minimum wage goes up 20%, the little guy gets like $1.25 an hour. Whereas the already overpriced, overpaid union guy, like he'll get like $5 an hour. Right. So it's always a payback to the unions when they do that. They don't give a rat's ass about the little guy, which they proved through COVID.
With the unions, though, the Democrats aren't riding that wave anymore. Look at what happened in Michigan. Yep. The auto workers, and I forget his name. He came out and he says, "Well, I'm a Democrat, but my rank and file, I keep thinking they're not voting with me."
Right.
Yeah, Rich.
Yeah.
Do you know the way you said earlier about these bills, like and titles and stuff that mean exactly the opposite of what they actually produce?
Yeah.
Well, what about, I put it to you that whenever the government gives a minimum wage, what they're actually doing is giving the wink and a nod to all the companies that this is the maximum you need to pay.
Yeah.
And
this is the lowest you can go. Yeah.
Yeah. This is where you're at. You pay that, you're fine. And it really stifles competition between different businesses because they all, it's fucking price fixing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. You're right.
It's fixing a price for labor.
Rush Limbaugh said that 20 some years ago. He goes, when they have a minimum wage, he said, they're really telling you, well, this is how low you can go. Because who's going to go any higher, right? When you have unskilled workers. And see, in America, I don't know about where you guys are, but in America, if you have, like, because the Dems go, how are you supposed to support a family on minimum wage when you keep it down at that? Yeah, well, you know what? You're not supposed to. If you support a family working a minimum wage job, then you got much bigger problems than being paid only minimum wage. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. Minimum wage here is for kids that are breaking into working.
Yep.
Right. And also adults who it's their second or third job. That's what it comes to. And what happens is people, when you go into a minimum wage job, within 6 months, you're usually out because you get your first raise because they said, all right, you lasted 6 months. You're doing a good job. We're going to bump you up. Right. So when they talk about we got to look for the little guy, fuck, they don't care about the little guy. It's the unions that they're paying back.
That raise after about 6 months is also dependent upon the fact that is depending on the fact that there's a different company doing a similar job that will pay them that rate, and they need to up their wages where the person's going to go. And the minimum wage thing stops that happening because everybody's on the same fucking rate.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And see, the unions use their dues collection money when that legally is supposed to go towards contract arbitration. So in other words, they're supposed to be able to pay for lawyers with that who are going to argue with the company and say, look, we do this work, your profits went up to this, we want a piece of that. Which, you know what? I don't have a problem. If you're going to join a union, you want to do that, that's fine. But the fucking unions inside government, who are they arguing against?
I think if you look into this, if the unions in America are the same as they are in the United Kingdom, if you look into it, you'll find that employment rights are way down on their priorities, because every protest that we have for more migration and more rights, all of the LGBT protests, except for the Pride ones, they're all organized by the union. The union in, I shit you not, the union in Northern Ireland brought in academics to do a study on abortion as a workplace issue in order that they could lobby government for a change in abortion law.
You got to be kidding me. Oh.
No, honestly. And they actually did the study. Now, there was a slight hiccup because I happened to be a member of that union and got the email about it. And I demanded to have a meeting with the academics and explain to them how actually my reproductive rights have been interfered with because I had forced parenthood because my my partner decided she was going to have a child without my knowledge. I was subjected to forced marriage through that, and I was subjected to so my reproductive rights, I don't have any. I have no access to abortion. I have no ability to abort my legal or moral responsibilities. The government will actually take money out of my wages, which makes that the actual workplace issue in reproductive rights. And then what happens is, because the academics I've had that conversation, that has to go into their academic report. And I also told them at the time I need to be kept informed of what all happens with this, because I want to read the report whenever it's done. And that body of work never really went anywhere. They didn't even send it for peer review because it had to include all the stuff that they didn't want.
Wow. Yeah, I when I was a young strapping lad, I used to make that argument because I had a divorce and I had to pay for child support, which I didn't mind. I always did, but I always paid more than what I was supposed to because I made more, so I always paid more. But my point always was, okay, so y'all talk about choice all the time, right? Between abortion and having a child. So
is consent to sex also consent to parenthood?
Because exactly.
If you're a man, consent to sex is also consent to parenthood. But if you're a woman, consent to sex means that you then get a further choice of abortion, raising the child with the partner, raising the child without the partner, or adoption. And the fella who is half of the parentage gets absolutely no choice in that.
Right. And see, that's what I was saying. I was saying back then, I was arguing. I was saying, okay, so you talk about choice. Well, you get to abort the child, and I have no say for that. Yeah. However, if you want to keep the child and I don't want you to, the government will step in and take my wages. Where is there any fairness in that? And they were like, well, you got to lobby your state and your congressman better.
what I've been doing is every time there's any consultation on abortion, I put in a consultation response stating that where women have the ability to abort a child for a period from conception to whatever that period is, the man must have that same time to abort his legal and financial obligations.
That was the other part that what I used to say. I would say, if you really want fairness,
Yep.
then the man should be able to go down to City Hall and say, I give up all rights on this child. I want nothing to do with it.
Yep.
And that should be that. But they won't do that because they want, at least in America, they don't want to, what they call bastardize a child. They don't want to do that.
Sorry, Listo, I meant the period of time, like as in 6 weeks, 24 weeks, whatever it is. But it turns out that as soon as you make that argument that in order to have proper equality, you need to actually do that, they really don't want to talk about abortion anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I one time, get this. One time I got this notice in the mail from domestic relations. That's what we call it over here when the guys that set up how much they're going to take from you, right?
Yep.
And they said that a judge signed a bill and it made a law. And I was like, first of all, I wrote back and I go, how does a judge make a law? They're not allowed here. You can't do that. It's bullshit. I don't accept it. They're like, well, we're doing it anyway. So here's what they did, right? This was to stop deadbeat dads, right? Now, and I consider a deadbeat dad a guy that went to court. They told him, you owe the money. He goes, okay, he can pay the money, and he doesn't. And one way they tried to stop that was by making everybody go through domestic relations so they take it out of your check. Okay. So, yeah. So what this judge signed, there was an order that said that if at the end of the month, domestic relations realizes that, because when you go to court here, they tell you the amount for the month. That's what each week.
Yep.
Right? So you times it by the weeks, right? So he said that at the end of the month, if you didn't pay the amount that was due, we're charging you 10% fine. Now, here's the problem with that. Domestic relations, the women that work there, I think they're women that work there, they have this penchant for trying to shove a knife in a guy's back, right? So what they do is they say, okay, so we're going to do this not by weeks or by months. We're going to do that each month has 4.526719 weeks in it, because there's some months that have 5 weeks and some months that have 4, correct?
Yeah.
But what this a-hole judge didn't understand was that on the months that have 4 weeks, you don't pay as much. They don't get that full amount. But on the months that have the 5, you go way over what that amount is, because it's an actual extra week of the full amount. So no matter what, we're all getting fined 10%, right? So I went to my state representative. Sorry, his name was Green, and he's a Republican. And I called his office, and I got his secretary or whoever the hell it was, and I explained it all to her. And she goes, really? And I went, yeah. She goes, we didn't even know that. I was like, well, here I am. So he actually called me back. I've never heard of a Democrat calling a constituent. He actually called me back, and he goes, you know what? I looked into it, and he goes, you're absolutely right. You're onto something. So he tells me that this is the bullshit politics. He tells me this. He goes, look, for our region, he said, Delaware County, which I used to live there. He goes, Delaware County, PA. He said the judge that's down there for domestic relations, she runs the entire domestic relations for the region. I was like, okay. He goes, you got to write a letter to her and explain it to her and say that, because I told him, I said, I'm a programmer. I could write software very easily that will fix this. And I said, because it's a problem. Everybody's going to go become a deadbeat dad because of this judge. So he told me, he says, here's what's going to happen. He goes, you're going to write to this woman judge. You have to wait 30 days for her to get back to you. If she doesn't get back to you, and he goes, and she won't, he goes, then you call my office again. He goes, I'm going to have you send the letter to me, and I'm going to send it to the woman in the state of Pennsylvania who is in charge of all of it. He goes, and she will call you. And that's exactly what happened. 60 days later, that second woman is on the phone, and she goes, She goes, yeah. She goes, you know what? We do realize that. She goes, and we're trying to put something in. And I said, okay. So she goes, what do you think we should do? Like she asked me. She actually asked me, what do you think? And I told her I had a formula then. I said, look, your programs can do this. I don't know what you're writing it in, but I could literally write it out in English for you what to do. So she asked me to do that, and I emailed it to her. And lo and behold, about 6 months later, they tested the code and they got it done. Right now, I was
That's the
lucky.
speed of light.
Excellent
Yeah.
work.
I know.
Yeah,
So
Rich,
Yeah.
for a government, those wheels turned actually quickly. And
Yeah.
excellent work there, Richard.
Oh, I know.
Excellent work.
Yeah,
But
let's speed it. That's
happened was, now here's the thing.
that-
What happened was the judge re-ruled on it, and he actually took it away because he said, you know what? I think that, like the way he said it, I read it in the paper. He said, you know what? I didn't know what I was doing. Like a judge admitted, and he said, I think there's a better way to go after deadbeat dads than to punish everyone who isn't being unlawful. And my moral of this whole thing, I saved every person. I'm not going to say every guy because it's usually guys, but there's some women that pay it, right? But I saved them all from having to go through that bullshit. I never got one Christmas card from any of them.
Here, Rich, I have a question for you.
Sure.
See this system whereby the woman keeps the child and the man pays for it. How long do you think that's been in place?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
Since the biblical times.
No. I mean, codified within law.
Oh, within law. I don't know. I really don't know.
In 18, not 19, 18,
Yeah.
39,
Really?
there was a woman called Caroline Norton who is
Okay.
described as a social beauty and a hostess. Well, she had a bit of a ding-dong with the then British Prime Minister.
Oh,
Basically,
really?
she sucked his cock. And she also produced this pamphlet called the Tender Years Doctrine. And that said that the mother should keep the child and the father should pay for the necessities during the tender years, being that years the time whenever the child would be breastfeeding, and that was deemed to be up to 6 years old.
Wow.
And that began in 1839. So all this thing about women being historically oppressed, I'm not quite sure how that works with that.
Uh-huh.
Then about 15 years later, they decided they had a problem with these 6-year-old children being handed back to a father that they hadn't seen. So they decided that it was in the best interest of the child to extend that up to the age of 16, which is still the current legal system that we have.
Okay. Wow.
Billy Blogs in see in 1835, 1839, breastfeeding up to 6 would have been normal and natural because we did not have the abundance of food for adults that we currently enjoy.
Oh, wow.
Times was tough, buddy.
Yep. So that's where that all comes from. There's a law that predates that called the Married Woman's Property.
Okay.
The Married Woman's Property Act, which states that if a woman that was married owned property before she was married, at the divorce, that could not be given to the husband.
Right.
However, it also stated that the husband's property could be divided to the woman.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because that's how pressed these women have been. And this is the beginning of the transformation of the legal system in the United Kingdom. It began in 1800 and also affected the United States because our laws get exported to everywhere else. That's why Canada has the same law, Australia has the same law, America has the same law, and then that became the norm and spread across the Western world.
Wow. That's crazy. Let me see.
Oh, have you ever heard of the New York Alimony Club?
The what?
The New York Alimony Club?
No.
There was a prison in New York it was like a prison for deadbeat dads,
Right.
but they had if you had the means to fund it, they had larger sales, pool tables, and cigars.
Right.
There was a lot of the fathers that were getting thrown in jail for child support chose to go to the alimony club
Right.
because it actually worked out cheaper for them. The jail itself was made nice and comfortable for them.
Yeah. Wow. I got your 2 images. Did you want me to bring them up?
Yeah, if you, it's just yeah.
Which one?
See, it was just you were asking about how well known it was about the IRA and
Yeah, the PLO and all that. I just saw the chat. I'm sorry, I just saw the private chat. You want me to bring the fist one up first?
Yeah, either or.
Yeah, I'm crazy, man.
These are murals in Belfast.
Wow. In
That
Belfast.
Yep.
I'll bring the first one up. Whatever.
That get maintained and fixed.
There you go. That's that one. Holy crap. PLO and the IRA, one struggle.
When is that from?
That's Belfast.
When was that out? When was that put up?
It's still there.
Yeah, but when did they finally put it up? Like years ago?
Oh no, that's been there from the 70s.
Wow.
And
I never knew that. Why did I never read that anywhere?
Yeah.
Like they were with them.
Yeah, and see the way you can see.
I wonder why you never read that anywhere.
Right,
Never.
see the way you can see all that white stuff down at the bottom. Down at the bottom, and the rest of the paint around the walls all chipping off. That's because this mural gets repainted on a regular basis.
No kidding.
Yeah, the murals all get repainted and touched up to keep them in good order. Belfast has a really good open air art gallery.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, so this is so as everybody knows, it's not just 42 pulling stuff out as arse. The PLO and the IRA are.
Well, PLO, Muskrat Face used to run them, and I think his wife lived in France. She wouldn't live with those sand guys, but didn't he abscond with like $1 billion of the money that was donated to PLO?
Probably. Oh, Yasser Arafat was yeah.
Wow. Look at the colors. They're practically the same.
Yep.
Holy man.
And that painting there is on one of the peace walls that divides the two communities.
Wow.
You can tell by the barbed wire along the top. And this is very front. Tourists and all come and look at this because this one's in an area where tourists will go and be able to go and see it. The other one's further back.
Tourists can't go back there?
Well, it's. I would advise anybody that's being a tourist in Belfast to stick to the main roads and not go off into the wee back streets. The main roads, everybody knows what you're doing. You're there to look at and whenever somebody's there that looks out of place, they're not out of place. But once you start going in off the back streets and whatnot, probably best to do that from inside your car.
Wow.
And the other thing is, if you're ever in Belfast on a holiday or whatever, you're driving past places that look like this with the paintings on the wall, and you see a pub and you think, oh, that looks like a nice wee pub, and make one for a drink. No, don't go you into the city centre.
Yeah.
Because these are all we are very ghettoed off, and
wow,
you're probably going to be fine, but why put yourself at risk?
Right. Yeah. Jeez. That's crazy, man. That's crazy that's all going on over there.
Yeah.
And we don't hear about all that.
No, you get a very, very collated version of it.
Wow.
You get the
wow, just wow.
What I will say about the left, because Sinn Féin is very, very strongly on the left, is they are really organized with their public relations and what they show to Group A, Group B, and Group C.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew all about that, 42.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we don't hear that stuff. And you know what? Like, if you think about it, the left, the globalists, ruled the world for how many decades? Right? It's coming down in a lot of places now.
They're clawing it back.
Yeah, they are. They are. Now, there's going to be a lot of places that they're not going to be able to, but oh damn, the globalists, man. Jesus Christ. That's like on a world level socialism.
Yeah,
Is what it is.
that's exactly what it is. It's in all these different places and it seems unconnected. What I found really interesting was it was only whenever I became involved in men's rights that I started to learn about how politics worked.
Yeah.
Now, I knew for all my life that in Northern Ireland there was a campaign that compared the lives of working class Catholics
Right.
with rich or upper middle class Protestants,
Really?
and pointed out the difference.
Uh-huh.
But it totally ignored the fact that there were also working class Protestants that were in situations every bit as shitty as the Catholics, and there were indeed rich and upper middle class Catholics. So, but then it's the same thing that they do with men against women, with black against white. They take half the story. They compare the poor with the well off and say this is because the oppressor. And because I'd seen that so up close and prominent all my life, whenever I seen it happen being applied to everywhere else, the light bulbs all fucking ticked off. Dum 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 dum. This is all connected. This is the same bullshit being done by the same people.
Wow. Fucking crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they're now in George Soros right now because they just uncovered more highly declassified and hidden shit in the burn bags that he was behind. He funded the entire thing for the Russiagate. He's the one that put up the $9 million. There was $9 million that went to a law firm called Perkins Coie, and they went to Perkins Coie, which is a Democrat law machine, right? And I got a guy, Mark Elias. He's a scumbag lawyer that when the Democrats want to steal an election, they call him. And he's the one that did the most damage in 2020 to Trump. He had his legal teams go around to all the swing states, the battleground states, and he went into court. And he went all the way up to the state's Supreme Court and argued against certain laws that were made for election integrity in 2020. Like in my state, his team got my state's Supreme Court, which is ruled 7-2 Democrat, right? He got them to change the election law that helped the Democrats. The Act 77 was, I think it was Act 77 or 72. I think it was 77. Was the law that the Republican legislature created for the mail-in ballots fiasco in 2020. One of the rules was they said, look, the deadline for accepting a mail-in ballot to be counted is 8 p.m. election day night. And that was that. Anything after that, no, we're not counting it, right? So Mark Elias took his legal team, and they got the Supreme Court to extend it by 3 days. Now, why did they do that? Because they needed to know how many votes they had to fake to beat Joe Biden, and it took them 3 days to do it. That's why they did it. Well, in our Constitution, Article 1, Section 4 says that only a state legislature has the authority to create an election law, which means an executive branch can't do it and a judicial branch can't do it. But here, our Supreme Court actually went and did it. And then we had a woman in the executive branch under the Democrat Tom Wolf. Her name was Kathy Hogan, or not Kathy Hogan. It was Kathy. What the hell was her last name? oh, now I forget, but she was the Secretary of State, and she added the deadline to the provisional ballot. So in other words, you had to, if you said, oh gosh, I don't have my voter registration card or a driver's, I have no ID. I'm a moron, right? I don't know how to get it. Well, then they go, okay, you can vote by provisional ballot, but you got to come back within 3 days and prove who you are. Okay. Right. So they had millions of people come in and they did all different types of flavors of cheating. And one of them was, it was provisional ballot, because they figured when they called the election, right, they wouldn't have to use the provisional ballot, so they didn't matter anymore. But if they did need it, it was that close. Oh, we got these 100,000 provisional ballot. How many you usually get? 20? 20,000? No, 20. That's what they did, right? So they absolutely cheated in the goddamn.
Yeah. Have you noticed though that Mark Elias was a real loudmouth when he won at the district court and some of the state courts, but since Trump has been winning at the appeals and at the Supreme Court, you don't hear from him much anymore, do you?
I know. Well, you know what happened too? We bring a guy on, Mark Davis. I've had him on like 4 times already. He's an election specialist. Like in Georgia, the state of Georgia, he is a guy that gets Republicans elected, right? He's a data guy, and he helps get Republicans. He gets paid for it, but he also owns a company called Data. What is it? Data. I forget. Data something Incorporated. And that's what he does. He deals in data. He's very good at it. So what happened was when the 2020 election happened, and it was the same thing in every goddamn state that we saw. Like Trump won, then they go, oh, we got to count all those ballots, right? Oh, you mean the ones that you extended the date through the illegal orders by? Yeah, those ones. Okay, fine. And so every one, they just kept counting and counting and counting, and they stopped counting when they beat Trump. All right, so the same thing happened there. So Trump's legal team asked him to do an analysis on the votes, and so they sent him all the data, and he did. And he proved they cheated, but nobody wanted to hear it. But he proved that they cheated. And so then Mark Elias, I think it was, they sued him and True the Vote, but they tried to connect the two. He wasn't with True the Vote, but he liked them, because who doesn't if you're a conservative, right? And Stacey Abrams down in Georgia, she's that annoying liberal progressive woman that she ran for governor twice and lost twice to the same guy, and she just didn't learn the first time. Well, she has an organization called Fair Fight, and I think it was Elias that was representing them, and so they sued True the Vote, who did all that geofencing stuff and proved that they cheated by the same guy coming like 1,000 times to the same drop box. I mean, bullshit, right? So, and they went after Mark because of what he proved. And so that's how vicious they are. They make you spend tons of money on your lawyers, on your legal fees. Anyway, so Mark beat him finally. It took 3 years, but he beat him. So he had this little button that he put on his Facebook for like the last 2 years that said, I fought Mark Elias and I won. And from what I understand, Mark Elias is not very happy with that button. Because Mark,
in 2024, I remember watching. Of course, we were watching the House races pretty carefully, and I remember watching, like, I think it was 3 in California,
right?
And these 3. They were really pretty close, and then Republican was ahead, and then the polls closed, and not ahead by much, but then over the 3 weeks or 2 months or whatever it took, all of a sudden you'd see the Democrat numbers inching up and up, and the Democrats won the 3 seats. You know what I think? Have you ever looked at a county map? Map. If all
red
we
as
need
red could be, yeah.
All we need to do is get rid of electoral districts and just say each county elects a representative.
Right.
And you know what would happen to the Democrats if we did that?
Oh, they would lose everything.
Yeah. See, in Great Britain, we have pretty much the same system as you. Although, if you win, your county would have the vote and an elective representative, and all those would go back and would be elected.
Right.
Right. So, but somehow yours gets all pulled together and amount of seats are divvied out, and I think that's a big part of your problem, because if the county should be able to have their own representative, and the other part of that is at a county level, it's much easier to have your politician tied to the people, that they have to come back and meet them every week or every month or whatever it is.
Right.
Well, preferably every Sunday morning at church, and then you actually control and own that person because they have to interact with you. At the minute, a big chunk of our problem is that there's a major disconnect between the politicians and the people.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
they go around and do all the interaction with their constituents like they always had done. Only instead of it being the local church and the village faith, it's now the NGOs that they go and see.
Yeah, the NGOs are the most evil thing they ever came up with. They take all your money and they work against you with your money.
Yeah. 42, you don't have a system where you vote directly for the president, though, or for the prime minister.
No, what happens is the party with the party with the majority then selects from within that party.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that because I'm originally Canadian, and that's exactly how the Canadians do it. You get the party that wins the most votes, and to get a majority, sometimes they need to have an alliance with a minor party.
Yeah.
But then the prime minister is the first minister, is the leader of the party. So, and they get to be the prime minister.
That's exactly it. We don't vote for prime ministers. We vote for parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first moved to the United States, the whole voting for a prime minister and the electoral college thing was like very weird to me.
Yeah.
Well, they did that. The electoral college was done so that smaller states would have a say, because if what the Democrats want for sure is they want California, Illinois, and New York to decide every presidential race. Because why would anybody else? Why would any presidential candidate go to any other state but those three?
Yeah, there you go.
That's the whole point of it. Let me show you. I think I got it up.
Yeah, your electoral college is good, but I don't think it goes far enough. I think you need a separate electoral college within the states.
Yeah,
that ensures whatever. I don't know. Orange County gets the person from Orange County that lives there going forward.
Yeah. This picture here is that's my friend. That's Mark, right?
Yeah.
He's with Cleta Mitchell, who was Trump's lawyer.
Oh,
yeah, that's Cleta Mitchell, and he's hanging out with her, and she's the one that did the report of his findings. And one of the things he found 6 ways, I believe it was. In fact, he sent me his legal arguments, and I read them. He's like, "Don't show him that." I'm like, "All right." I've written like 4 stories about him and what he did. In fact, what he did, what I'm about to explain to you, it was a book that was written. It was called Rigged, and it was by Molly Hemingway, and she's from the Federalist. She's awesome. She's on all the talk shows and everything, but she's awesome, and she's like the editor there. And she wrote a book, Rigged, and when she was writing it, I believe she saw my article about him. She's like, "Ooh, I gotta call this guy." So she didn't get in touch with me. She got in touch with him, right? And she talked to him. She said, "Do you mind if I talk to you?" Everybody knows her. If you're a conservative, you know who Molly is. She's awesome, right? So she talks to him, and she says, "So I read this article." He goes, "Yeah, that's my friend Rich." And he goes, "All right, cool." She goes, "Can you tell me more about it?" So she was going to do it from a different angle, the book, but then she said, "You know what?" She goes, "Your story is so compelling. Do you mind if I write like mostly about your story?" He's like, "No, not at all." Right. So she was kind enough to put a link in the index to my article, which was really nice of her. And she put it in there. So I made it into one of Molly Hemingway's books. I'll take it any way I can get it. Right. But what he did was he found like 6 different ways, but the one way he could prove, absolutely prove it, it took too long, because the way was the law says in Georgia, as in my state of Pennsylvania, in many states, it says that if you move from one county to another, okay, within 30 days of the election, and you don't re-register with the state, you can't vote in either county, your old one or your new one. And people go, why is that? Well, because in your county, you're not only voting for your congressman, who's part of your county, right? He represents you, but you're voting for your sheriff. You're voting for the school board, right? The dog catcher, whatever else, you're voting for, like, important people that, like, could really screw up your life. So he found out that there were, like, looking at the data, he found over 300,000 people moved from one county to the other in the election. So he whittled it down to who never contacted the state. He was able to get his hands on the voter roll, right, and all that. So he found out, and then he contacted through data. He downloaded from the USPS, the postal office, our post office. He downloaded all their info. So people aren't going to right away register to vote when they move, but they want their mail, right?
Yep.
So he got their data there, and he got their data here. And so he pulls it from the voter database of the state, which says whether they told him or not. So if he sees the date, the address here, and it doesn't match what's in the post office, then he knows. Well, he found like over 30,000, right? They did that. They broke the law. Whether they knew it or not, they broke the law. And here Biden won by 11,000, what was it, 792, I think it was.
Yeah.
And so there were other things they did. For example, it is illegal to register an address that is a post office box. He found over 100,000 people did that. They're all Democrats, and they just do it to get their name on the rolls. Okay. Then the other thing that he caught, and he did this with Kemp, Brian Kemp is the governor. Well, back in, I think it was 2018, when what's her name, Stacey Abrams was running for governor. She's the woman, very large black woman who, not that it matters, but she has the attitude. I think you know what I mean. So she was running for governor. And the Secretary of State in our country, the Secretary of State is the one that creates the election laws, and he doesn't create them. The legislature does, but he enforces them. And Democrats always enforce them a little too zealously. They change laws and shit. You're not allowed to, but this guy was a Republican, so he did it, and he caught her group, Fair Fight, cheating. Because what they did, they were filing thousands of new registrations for people to get mail-in ballots delivered to them, right? Now, he couldn't say anything because she's the type where if you say, I don't like the dress you're wearing, racism, and voter suppression, like, she just screams that at the top of her lungs. And so what happened was he couldn't say a word because the Secretary of State at that time was Brian Kemp, and she was running against him. And he made the decision that, look, if I came out with that and proved and showed that she was cheating, right, it would have destroyed my campaign because it would have called me a racist, everything. But the way they were cheating was this. You ready for this? What happens is every year they used to purge the rolls, the voter rolls, of people who died and people who moved out of the state, right? But then in 1994, the Democrats, right before the Republicans took over under Clinton, they created a thing called the National Voter Registration Act, or the NVRA is what we refer to it as. And among the many other stupid things in that he signed into law, and the Republicans, when they took over the next year, it was the first time they became a majority party in 40 years. From 54 to 94, the Democrats ruled the Congress totally, right? So they were trying to figure out how to become a majority party. They never paid attention to the NVRA. One thing it had in there that was devastating was the Democrats rig everything that they can, right? But what they did was they made it so that you could not, like, all 50 secretaries of state, right, in all 50 states, you could not purge certain types of people for like a decade from your voter rolls. And that was people who died and people who left the state. And their argument was, because people said, wait a minute, how? Oh, so the adage is true that the dead vote for Democrats, which is true. But so their argument was always, well, what if somebody goes to vote and they say, sorry, you're dead. And it's a mistake. And you go, wait a minute, I'm right here. It doesn't matter. You're dead. You can't vote. Well, my answer was, well, then they file a provisional ballot. And then they come back and prove that they were. It's very simple. But no, they said you can't purge it. So they couldn't. So the Democrats, they do this in every state. Okay. The Democrats would then, around election time, they would get the voter rolls, all the persons, they're not their registration. They wouldn't do that in Georgia, but they give their address, right? And then they contact they download two others. They pay for them, the USPS and the Social Security database. Now, why? Because if they have the USPS and they match it against, and it doesn't, like their address doesn't match the address on the voter roll, ding, 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 they got themselves a new voter. So they do it with Social Security because they can find out if the person died. Ding, 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 they got a new voter. So every 4 years, they could add on up to 250 to 400,000 new voters. So that's what she was doing. She was taking those lists of the new voters, right? And they were registering in their names and putting them to phony addresses that was their address. And they figured, the volume of people that are registered to vote, they would never find out that 150,000 or so people were at this one address. All right. That's what they did.
Well,
and so,
over here, we do that within our own area. Because in Minecraft, I may know people who were in charge of the dead list, whereby, because Northern Ireland is where it is and everything's so very tight, just because you're dead, you're not going to lose your vote, and made sure that happened.
Yeah.
And getting all the information is really easy because you're doing it within your local area and you can just walk around to the person's son, daughter, whatever, and they will help you out and get the thing sent out. And yeah.
So Mark became a threat to the Democratic Party of Georgia. Yeah. So they threw a lawfare at him.
It's been in the chat. Food early, food often is a phrase and an instruction where we live.
Yeah. Well, they were saying, they always say, well, the Democrats do very well among the dead demographic, and they really do.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, do you have a moment?
I was just going to ask. I know we're kind of really deep into it and serious, but anybody out there want a Dr. Jade moment? Let's hear from a couple of people.
If she has a Dr. Jade moment that she can run,
yes, please.
If you have a link, I'll put it up. If you want to read it, I'll bring it up.
A link? No, I was just going to.
All right, hold on. We're going to go through it. Hang on.
It's something really quick. I was just going to pop something out.
All right, hang on.
It's a Dr. Jade moment.
There you go. It's all yours.
Thank you, Rich. Okay, so I want to call this segment, do you actually hate your government enough? Okay.
Love it.
So I found something out this week. Now, bear in mind, as a medical professional, I'm a physician. I don't know 42 in Pakka. I don't know if you know that. I'm the physician. I graduated in 1983. I've been practicing in this country for 29 years up until I retired last November. So keep that in mind as an experience. I found out last week an interesting fact. In Colorado, when you go to the hospital, there is something that they call a bed tax. That I don't know how much it is.
Wow.
I don't know if you can find out how much it is. But I do know that by law, by regulation, it may not appear as a separate line item on your explanation of benefits on your hospital bill.
Wow.
There is no way for you to see it. And the government is scooping that up. I don't know how much it is. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend researching this. But the government has a tax. Every day you are in the hospital, every night you sleep in that bed, they carve a little out for yourself. Now, when I was telling my husband this, the way I described it, I said, I really, really feel sometimes that I'm at my limit of hating the government.
Yeah.
And then something comes up that just sends me just a little bit further.
Crazy.
I don't know. Is there no end? Is there no end? And do you actually hate your government enough?
I know. Well, that's what I always said when, like, New York was really bad years ago, even after Koch. I mean, when David Dinkins was in there, holy mackerel, they had they had an average of 2,000 murders a year just in New York, right, city. And I remember they used to ask the question, is it bad enough? And it wasn't, because Rudy Giuliani ran, because he ran on a platform, I'm going to end this, right? And eventually he
pretty
did.
much did.
And he pretty much did. And he got rid of the mob in New York, too. He got rid of them. But what happened was the first time he ran, he lost. And people said, it must not be bad enough. Because with liberals, they'll just keep voting in because they think, well, everybody's going to vote for him and I want to be a winner. We're all winners. Yeah, but you're a fucking loser because they ruined your life in there. And,
the best way to convince everybody that a liberal is wrong is just give them what they want.
Yeah, well, that was.
I have to answer a question from Billy.
Yeah.
Billy asked, "Did I get the mRNA?" Well, it is with great regret that I have to say, being a medical professional, I was on the front end of that. I being trained as I am, I always had faith in medical research, and I had to be on the front end of that, and I got two, which ones did we get? We got the Moderna.
Oh, Moderna.
We got the Moderna. And if I knew then what I knew now, I would never have gotten them. Not exactly forced or coerced, but there was a lot of things you could not do if you didn't have them.
Right.
And, if you went into a hospital, you couldn't go into a hospital. Oh, now that's an interesting question. How much for a Tylenol in the hospital?
About $25.
No. Hey, get this. I went in the hospital in January for a minor procedure. And after the anesthetic, I woke up and I'm talking to the nurse and I'm talking to the doctor and then talking to the anesthetist. And I have a little pain. And the guy says, yeah, Tylenol should be enough. And I agreed. I said, Tylenol should be enough. And the nurse says, would you like me to get you some Tylenol? And I said, sure. So she right away, she says, this is really, really horrible Tylenol. It's not coated. It's like the worst, cheapest generic crap. I said, whatever. 6 weeks later, I'm looking through my explanation of benefits. 2 Tylenol. $60.
Yeah. Now, do you know why that is?
And because they were not prescription, my insurance wouldn't cover it.
Whoa. Damn.
Because they're over-the-counter medication. Well, why it is, it's because they can.
Well, no. There is a reason for it. It's because of that rat bastard Richard Nixon, because he made a law that said that you can't turn someone away because they can't pay for hospitalization, right? So what happened was, back in the day, you used to have drunks, maybe all drunk, and they fell down and hit their head. So they go into the emergency room, and the emergency room would say, here, take 2 aspirin, get the hell out of here. Well, then Richard Nixon goes in and he signs a bill that says you can't turn someone away for that. So what happens? So the guy comes in, he goes, the headache. So they give him 2 Tylenol, and he goes away, and he dies. Because the guy's a drunk. He's in there, everything. The guy dies because of something where he hit his head. And what I call, pardon my French, the cock-sucking lawyers will come out of the woodwork and sue the living hell. They don't even know who the guy's family is because he's a bum. He had nothing. He had no ID. So the hospitals all said, okay. So the next time a bum comes in from the street, I got a head. Let's put him through every single ringer. Put him through the ringer of all the tests, right? and he can't pay for that. So you know who pays for that? You
Guess
pay
who?
$60 for 2 Tylenol. That's
Guess
why.
who pays for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my story for tonight, and I pretty amazed with the hospital system.
Crazy, isn't it?
Hold on. Is Tylenol available across the counter?
Yeah.
Right.
For $60,
Yeah.
you could have probably bought an entire box.
Oh,
At what stage do Americans start bringing their own fucking pain relief to hospital with them?
They'll come
but
up with a
you're not-
law that says you can't.
you're generally not allowed to.
Wow. Isn't that something?
And if you bring your own medicine, the nurse wants to take it, send it down to the pharmacist to be verified what it is, and then you'll get it back.
Right. Yeah. That's going to lead to people taking over-the-counter painkillers surreptitiously whenever they're in hospital, and then that's going to lead to people doing things even further past that, and it's all going to scroll out of control. That is fucking nuts.
Well, Billy said,
well, I know what I did a couple of years ago when I had to spend a night in the hospital. I brought my pills with me.
Yeah.
And you know what? The nurse didn't want, I didn't tell the nurse.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to tell the nurse. I kept those things. And the nurse didn't want to give me what I usually take.
Uh-huh.
And I said, but I need to take this. And as soon as she was gone, guess what I did? Opened the drawer, took my pills.
yeah. Here, Billy Blog said, Hippocratic Oath, Rich, common decency. It's the insurance companies that is true. However, wasn't it the doctors that accepted minor children for surgery because of the money?
There are certain fields in medicine that are really, really getting out of control.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I would
Like-
say.
Like, you've got to the point in America where you're starting to harvest organs before the person dies.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
one
read
of-
that too.
Yeah. Do you want to read that article? You want to bring it up? We'll actually read it.
Is it on Jabber House?
Oh, wait a minute. No, we did that one last week. Yeah, apparently Kennedy, who's you probably know, he's the head of HHS, Health and Human Services. He is investigating because there's these reports documented that people still have neurological signs that are incompatible with organ retrieval.
That's crazy, man. You want to read that, 40?
Yeah. 21st of July, Reuters, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has launched a reform of the organ transplant system and threatened to close major procurement body after a probe found premature attempts to start organ retrieval while patients showed signs of life. The investigation conducted by the Health Resources and Services Administration, a division of HHS, examined 351 cases where organ donation was authorized but not completed. It found 73 patients had shown neurological signs incompatible with organ donation, and that means that they were still fucking alive. And at least 28 patients may not have been deceased at the time of procurement was initiated. The HHS has said in a statement on Monday. The probe also found evidence of poor neurological assessment, questionable consent practices, and misclassification of causes of death. Several cases, the agency said. The HSS has directed the National Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network to report to regulators data concerning safety-related stoppages of organ donation called for by families, hospitals, or staff at organ procurement organizations. The HRSA has also said it would directify Network for Hope, a federally funded organ procurement organization. that serves states including Kentucky, Southwest Idaho, and part of West Virginia if it does not comply with certain corrective actions. Network for Hope looks forward to working collaboratively with HSS and HRSA. Yeah, don't think so. And encourages the development of policies that support the betterment of organ transport system as a whole. CEO Barry Melissa told Reuters in an email. The mandated actions include root causes analysis of failure to follow internal protocols, and to develop policies to define donor eligibility criteria. Maybe make one of them the person be definitely dead. It has also instructed the OPO to adopt a formal procedure allowing any staff member to halt a donation process in case of patient safety concerns. OPOS are a not-for-profit organization responsible for recovering organs from deceased donors for transplantation. The announcement comes after the New York Times on Sunday reported on premature attempts to remove organs from patients who exhibit signs of life. It doesn't say it in this, but in other articles I read, they had people that started crying whenever they began to make the incisions for taking out the organs, and that obviously being able to hear everything that was going on. It's fucking barbaric.
Yeah, it is. You think about it. What about Planned Parenthood? When they were selling body parts, and they said, "Oh, we are not doing that," and they caught them.
Mm-hmm.
They caught them talking about it. They had hidden cameras showing them doing it. People that worked in there, whistleblowers. Unreal. Yeah, Lou wants to know Weilitzer or Hammond.
Right. You know what I'd like to play the Jim Acosta story. I actually think Pakka and 42 would be interested.
Let me see.
Yep.
Costa. Let's see. All right.
Yes, Google that.
Let's do this. Yeah, Jim Acosta is such a liar. His first name is not Jim. It's Abilio. I think if my name was Abilio and I'm in America trying to be a news guy, I would say Jim as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Jim Acosta interviews AI version of teenager killed in Parkland shooting. It's just a beautiful thing. Now, can you imagine this? He interviews an AI version of a teenager killed in the Parkland shooting. Holy mackerel. Jim Acosta, the former CNN chief White House dickhead, who now hosts an independent show on YouTube, that's what has published an interview with an AI-generated avatar of Jacoan.
Joaquin.
I thought it was Jacoan. It's
Joaquin.
Okay.
Like Joaquin Phoenix, the actor.
All right. Well, it was. I don't think it was Joaquin. The one, the two brothers are in politics. One state, Texas. The other one's the other one was in the
anyway.
Whatever. Joaquin. I'll go with Joaquin, who I don't really give a shit. Who died at age 17 in the Parkland school shooting in 2018. The interactive AI was created by Oliver's parents, who granted Acosta the first interview with the recreated version of their son on what would have been his 25th birthday. Oliver was one of 17 people killed in the mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, which you can frickin' blame the Obama administration on. More on that later. Acosta asked AI Oliver about his solution for gun violence, to which the avatar responded, "I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement." Sure you do. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. Oh, my God. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. Okay. I'm being kind. The avatar added, "Though my life was cut short, I want to keep inspiring others to connect and advocate for change." Yeah, okay. You're not going to get that, especially in Florida. Acosta then asked, on the Second Amendment. Acosta then asked the AI Oliver. Now, how much you want to bet they knew that Acosta knew what the AI Oliver was going to say, right? Acosta,
of course he did.
Yeah, of course, because they rig everything. All right.
Yeah, because there was definitely nobody fucking typing in what the answer was going to be.
Exactly.
You know, it's a fucking computer program. The script of it.
Yeah. And this is the latest thing. Really? Well, where can
Just
I?
for
How
him.
can I do that? Well, you can't. Well, why? Well, you're not Jim Acosta.
The,
Come on.
the sick bastards are putting words into dead people's mouths.
Yep. Acosta then asked AI Oliver about his personal life, such as his favorite sport and favorite basketball team. The two discussed the movie Remember the Titans and their favorite Star Wars moments. After a 5-minute chat with the AI, Acosta then connected with Oliver's father and Manuel. Is it Manuel or
Manuel Oliver?
Manuel Oliver. There you go. Yeah, you're in Colorado. That's right. You have a lot of Spanish people up there. I'm kind of speechless as to the technology there, Acosta said. It was so insightful. We need to get rid of gun. Yeah, I really felt like I was speaking with Joaquin, right? It's just a beautiful thing. What a horse's ass. Let's get out of here. I understand that this is AI. I don't want anyone to think that I am in some way trying to bring back my son. Sadly, I can't, right? I wish I could. However, the technology is out there. So it's one of those, I don't want to use this to, but I'll do it. And you can too. Jesus Christ.
Read the next paragraph. This is like freaking creepy.
Right. Manuel said they created the AI in part so that he had his wife, Patricia, could hear their son's voice again. Quote, Patricia will spend hours asking questions, he said. Like any mother, she loves to hear Joaquin saying, I love you, mommy. Yeah, like a 25-year-old's going to say, I love you, mommy. They also launched this project so that Oliver would have a voice in conversations around gun safety. Now, it's not about gun safety. There was no gun safety when the kid was shot, right? No gun safety. What happened was the Democrats put up those laws that said gun-free school zone. So like a shooter could be nuts, but he's not stupid. He's not going to go into a police station and pull a gun and start trying killing people, right?
Or a donut shop. Or a donut shop.
Yeah, or a military. Yeah, exactly. Or a military base, or a bar that's a hangout for cops.
Well,
right?
actually, no. Military base is the only people who
I know. The only people I understand.
Police.
Yeah, I get that was a Clinton rule. Anyway, my son is actually at the base that he's at Fort Hood now. He's stationed there, but they call it Fort Carvosa or Cardoza. I forget. They changed the name. Why? I don't know. That's where Hassan, whatever his name is, he shot all those people. Go ahead.
Shot like 5 soldiers.
Yeah. Here, Rich, see, even in Northern Ireland, where we have a constant terrorist threat,
right?
If you're in an army camp based in Northern Ireland, you will see very few people armed. You'll see the guards will be armed at the gate, and that'll be about it. Everybody else is just going about their the weapons.
Stupid.
Yeah, the weapons stay in the army, and they only come out whenever they're needed.
Yeah, it's gonna be the guards and the military police, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Well, see,
because I was 12 years in the service. Trust me, I know this.
See, the thing with the gun-free school zones, the reason I think they're stupid is because, like I said, he's not going to be stupid. It'll be crazy, but not stupid. So if he wants to kill as many people that are vulnerable as possible, he's going to go to a place where he knows that federal law says there's not going to be a single adult in there that could defend the kids with a gun.
Yeah, we like to call them disarmed victims stones.
Yeah. So you know what schools don't get? The shootings like that, where they have a sign outside. Literally, they have schools that do this. We have a sign outside and it says, our teachers and staff are armed, and they may be armed the day that you come in, and they will do anything to protect our students. Guess what? Never had a shooter go in there. Never once. Never. Isn't that amazing? What are the odds, right? They also launched this project so that Oliver could have a voice in conversations around gun safety. Quote, now Joaquin is going to start having followers. He's going to start uploading video. So they created a digital noodle arms is what they did. What's his name? David Hogg. They created an AI noodle arms to go out there and tell people that, guns are bad. It's not the people, it's the guns. See, that's the problem with the fucking left. I always say it sounds ridiculous, but a gun never walked down the street and said, I think I'll shoot that person over there.
Yep.
Right? I mean, think about that. How fucking stupid are they? But they're stupid.
Some years ago, somebody took a streaming camera and pointed it at a table, and they had their Smith & Wesson sitting on the table,
Yeah.
and the
it
camera
move?
pointed. It was a 24/7 stream.
Did it move?
And you know what? Not once did it ever get up and shoot somebody.
See that? You see that?
There's something wrong with his guns.
It's
Well-
lazy. That gun's not putting in the effort. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's absolutely madness that the only person that they will not blame for it is the perpetrator.
Yeah.
that's the point. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the whole point. And in fact, in some places like down in Missouri, when you had the McCluskeys, right? The McCluskeys were those people where during the St. George Floyd riots,
All right. Yes.
the people broke through a private gate onto their property, and they came out with an AR-15, and the woman had a pistol.
Yep.
Well, Kim, whatever her name, Kim Gardner, she was the prosecutor there. She doesn't do a damn thing about the people that broke into property and were going to destroy things and possibly kill them, right? Because that's what they were doing in the riots outside of that property. No, she goes after the McCluskeys that had a Second Amendment right to defend their property.
Oh,
Well, luckily, the Attorney General was a Republican, and I think it was the Attorney General and someone else helped too. And the governor just threw the charges out. He said, "No, I'm giving them a pardon." In the end, he said, "We're not doing this here." And
Hey,
that's
I
how
remember-
crazy the Soros prosecutors are.
I remember.
they actually took that weapon apart and turned the firing pin round on the pistol to make it operable, because the man before he gave the wife the pistol had done something with a firing pin so that there would definitely not be an accident.
Right. Yeah.
They took it apart and made it again so it would fire, and then tried to claim that the weapon was in working order.
Wow.
Fucking
Well, I remember years ago a case. I believe his name was Miller. He was a farmer, and there was a couple of guys. He'd been broken into a few times, and a couple of, I guess, older teenagers broke into the house. They're coming up his stairs. He takes one of them out with his shotgun. The other one runs away, and the guys who broke in, they got, like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years for burglary.
Right.
He got 10 years for manslaughter, and took the icing on the cake was that when the farmer came up for his parole hearing, guess who they called to testify at his parole hearing? Was the burglar that lived.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is from your side of the pond, 42. This was in England.
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds exactly right. I remember that. It's absolutely fucking nuts.
Well, there was a case in England where a farmer, people kept breaking into his barn. And the farmer hooked up a shotgun with a rope to the door, and it was locked. And this robber opens the door, gets blown away. The farmer goes to prison.
Yep.
Well, what the hell? Well, I know cops in Philly. They were friends of mine, and they said, "Look, if somebody breaks in your house, then you shoot him. If the guy falls outside, pick him up and bring him inside. If he's outside, you go to prison. If he's not, you're defending your home." But now, in these woke jurisdictions, they go after you for defending your property, because the message is you are not allowed to defend yourself in my jurisdiction. That's the message.
Yeah, and I know in Canada, one of the tricks they used to do, basically what you just talked about, 42, that if they found somebody with a rifle, they would take the rifle, they would go over, get some military parts. Like if somebody had an AR-15 rifle, they'd go over, they'd get a bunch of military parts, put it in the rifle. And this wasn't so much for the AR-15 because the receivers are a bit different, but the old FNs that used to be the Canadian military firearm.
Which is it's a SLR self-loading rifle. 7.62 round. Really nice bit of kit.
But what they would do,
you stay down.
Yeah, you could buy a civilian version of that completely legally. But what they would do, they would take that, they'd go over, get a bunch of military parts, and make it fire fully auto. and you were cooked.
I know that whenever the British Army moved from the SLR to the SA-80, which is a lot lighter, the biggest issue with the squaddies in Northern Ireland was no longer having the nice Arctic butt on the SLR, because that was quite a handy battering tool.
Yeah.
Because
Crazy.
they would use that quite a lot if people were getting too close to them.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Now, if you're a firearms owner and you work in an area that is dangerous, you may have to use your piece. They're all advising you got to get this special kind of insurance where they'll put a lawyer up for you that argues
Yep.
with these cases. But even if it's a good shoot,
It's a good idea.
yeah,
It's a good idea to get that coverage.
You could go to prison.
Yep.
It's like, you know what, Tyrone was going to go to engineering school. Yeah, well, he held a knife to my throat, one in my wallet.
The bigger problem, the bigger problem you have is the fucking jury.
Yeah, that's another.
Because America is beginning to get to the point whereby you can look at a jury and know what way they're going to vote.
Oh yeah, there's jury nullification here.
Yeah,
that's why I was never called again. I was called once to be a juror, and what they do in Pennsylvania is 1 day or one trial. So you sit down there, and if you don't get called, you go home. You got another 8 years or so, but 1 day, one trial. And so they called me. I'm like, ugh, right? So I go in and we sit there and we listen to all the shit. Now they got to talk to us and ask us questions because they can do their eliminations and all that. So I'm sitting there and I'm answering questions. I was totally honest, right? I'm answering questions and all that. And the prosecutor made the mistake of asking me, because I was prepared. He made the mistake of asking me. He says, "Is there any questions that you have for us?" I went, "Oh yeah, I got one." I said, "Does the Pennsylvania state constitution allow for jury nullification?" And I saw that the defendant, he was writing, and he stopped immediately and looked at me and he smiled, right? And the prosecutor said, "I'm sorry." He made the biggest blunder because he made me repeat it. And it's all on record now, right? So I said, "Yeah, does the Pennsylvania state constitution have something in there for jury nullification?" He goes, "Why would you ask that?" I'm like, wow, this guy's a real fucking idiot. I said, "Because I want to know that if I am going to sit through this trial and I'm going to listen to all the evidence, do I really have to listen to the judge's his instructions? Because the judge always get you, well, you're not to listen to this, you're not to take that." Okay. So I said, I want to know, do I have the right to go with the evidence regardless of what the judge's instructions are? And he goes, "Your Honor, I'd like to do whatever he called it." He goes, "I'd like to for this one." They go, "Sir, you can go. Thank you very much." And I got up and left. They put a little black mark in my book or in the book against me.
I'm sure there is. And you do realize if a lawyer mentions that, they're in trouble.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because look, O.J. Simpson was walking around before he got arrested again. He was walking around free because of jury nullification. And when that happened, you know what happens in Atlanta, right? They call it the lottery jury, because in Atlanta they became famous for if there was a trial about and the person was going for like, $5 million for damage and all, they give him $100 million. They give him $100 million, and it came to the point where appellate courts had to say, "All right, we're cutting this down to the limit, $5 million." And a lot of the jurors are like, "What the hell? We gave him $100 million." They're like, you can't go over the limit and say that that's legally binding, right? But that's how crazy the jury system gets here.
Well, we had a case in England where a bunch of people had pulled down a statue and threw it into the sea. And they obviously were able to find the people because it was on CCTV. And they took them to court, and the jury found them not guilty. Now, the people gave no defense other than we thought that statue shouldn't be there. And on the basis of that, the jury says, "Yeah, you're right, that statue shouldn't be there, so you didn't do anything wrong and not guilty."
Wow.
And at that point, that's where that's the point at which society's beginning to break down, and all of your trials then have to go to 3 judges on a diplock system because you can't trust a jury.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're heading towards civil war.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know over where you are, but in this country, basically, if they need so many people for a jury, they send out about 100 times the summonses that of the people that they need,
Yeah.
and there is no. They just drop them in the regular mail. There is no record
Right.
of you getting that summons.
Oh no,
Yeah.
uh,
Isn't that
ours,
crazy?
ours is all on a list, and you get your notification. Then you have to check in with the court every day for 6 months to see if you need to be there the next day. And
Wow.
then,
Okay, yeah.
generally speaking, if you catch a court, if you catch a trial, then they'll take you off for the rest of that 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, the way it works here, you just get a card in the mail, and on the
Yeah.
card, they give you a specific day that you have to phone this particular phone number,
Yep.
and your juror number is on the card. And when you call that phone number, that phone number says, we need jurors from this number to this number. And if your number is in it, you're supposed to show up. If the number isn't in it, you throw the summons away.
Wow.
But like I say, there is no record. It's sent regular mail. There is no record of those being actually given to the person.
Hey, buddy. Wow.
Yeah, but while it is 6 months, like you could be on that list for 6 months and check it every day and never once have to go. So you definitely have to go in once, because the first day they show you a video and tell you how the court works and all that and explain you what you need to do about lunches and all of that, and then you get sent home, and then you have to check every day to see if you're again, they do it with numbers, and then it is your number. But then today we need from number 100 to number 300, and if you're not in that, then you don't have to go.
Oh, wow. All right. Yeah, here we do 1 day, 1 trial.
Although our the last time I was doing it there, our jury system was basically closed, and in the 6 months that I was on it, there was one case.
Wow.
There you go.
All right.
Sorry, I'm wrong. That's 3 months. It's not 6 months. It's 3 months.
3 months. Wow.
Yep.
Yikes.
Because I remember it was on it not that often, but I got it wrong. It's 3 months.
Wow.
So, guys, where you are, it's like pushing 1 a.m. now?
At 2.
2 o'clock.
2 a.m.
1,
Yep.
2. Yeah, they're 5 hours ahead. Oh, 40.
No, that's not 5 hours.
What's 9 o'clock where I am?
I'm
5 hours
from
Eastern
you. From you.
Yeah, I
Gosh.
don't know what it is. Probably 7 from you.
Yeah, 7 for me.
Yeah, all right. So that's So but what's it called? Robin contacted me and she wants me to come on her show.
Excellent.
Relentless. Yeah, on Relentless. And I told her I would. And so I only remembered this to tell you because of the time show. At least she's in Australia and she's in AEST, which is 12 hours ahead. So she says, "Oh, we do the show at 8 o'clock at night." I'm like, "It's 6 o'clock in the morning." But I'll do it. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. It's on a Wednesday, so I'll do it. I'll just tell my company that I work for, like, I'm going to come in late. I got a doctor's appointment. Hello, Dr. Robin. That's what I'll do, because it sounds like fun.
It is. It's a nice show. I did that.
Yeah.
I
Good.
did an episode with that, and it's a nice show.
I asked her what's the topics. I didn't get an answer, so I might be going in there blind. But that's all right.
Man, it's about you. You're relentless, and how you strive and move forward.
Oh, really? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Or actually, it's not really about that. It's more conversation than.
Yeah.
more like what we've done tonight.
Yeah. Well, at first I thought it was a podcast at first, like non-video podcast. But then I found all her videos and I started watching a couple of them. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah. I'll have to. I'll share that out on my thing whenever you get the link for that. I'll try to get along for it. Cool. Depending on what time it is.
Yeah. I'll send you if it's live. Yeah. I think it is going to be. Yeah, it is live because she said to me, she said because of the time zone difference, if you want to do like pre-record, I was like, nah, I'll do it. I don't mind. Of course, I won't look like this. Yeah, but wow, 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, I get up at 5:30 every morning anyway. But
yeah.
Hey guys, do me a favor if you haven't already, hit that like button because somehow it helps us with the algorithm. They tell us anyway, if you can.
Yeah, I don't know how long you're planning to go. It's getting a.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes, so yeah, we're gonna say goodnight. I want to thank you two for coming. Pakka, you still with us? I want to thank you guys for coming. It was a pleasure having you here.
Pakka's got himself muted. I don't know if
he's muted. There. We don't hear him. But yeah, it was a pleasure having you guys here. I love going on your show too, man. I just learned so much. I learned a few things tonight too as well. Thank you,
42. Thank you. Yeah. It's good to meet you.
We appreciate it.
Yes,
Dr. It's not in person.
Dr. G, it's very nice to meet you too. And Rich, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed tonight.
Always is when I deal. You guys are class acts. You really are.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught it earlier, but my family is from Waterford.
Yeah, it is. Waterford with the crystal.
Yeah, the crystal people, the glass.
Yeah, they shut the damn factory.
Yeah. Oh,
my mother bought some from there when she was there, and she said she called me one day. She goes, "They shut down the damn factory," just like you said.
Well, what I will say is Tyrone Crystal is still going strong. Tyrone, there's Waterford Crystal, which is in Ireland, and you've got Tyrone Crystal, which is in Northern Ireland. And Tyrone Crystal is still going strong. And the other one you want to look out for is Balik Pottery. That's our world famous crafty things.
Cool.
Yeah, when I was there, my cousin took us around, and it was kind of funny. He says, "Yeah, you see that right there? That's the back wall of your grandmother's house when she was a kid."
Oh wow!
Oh,
the rest of the house was gone, but it was the back wall of the house was still there as part of another wall. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's cool to see.
I could do all right before we leave. I could do another long lost clip of the week of Jimmy from Philly, or we could do the live stream outro. We could do both.
Let's just do the outro. Thank you for showing up, 42. I'll see if I can
we're going to talk afterwards in the studio, Dr. Jade. If you want to stick around for a while, we're going to talk in the studio afterwards.
Okay.
All right, you guys, I love every one of you. You know that every week you guys are the ones that make the show. I wouldn't be Jack. All right. Well, she actually wouldn't be Jack. She'd be Jane, wouldn't you? You'd be Jane every week. No, Jade. There you go.
I'm Jade.
Your name. You stick with your name. But yeah, for me, no, I wouldn't be Jack without you guys. You guys are the best. We love you all. Thank you very much. And you two guys, thank you. Pakka, thank you for coming. He might have fallen asleep. I don't know. But we'll keep him around. But 40, God bless you. Love you very much. We're gonna play us out. All right. Thank you guys very much. Love you very much. Next week, bring your friends, please. Watch my videos. We'll see. I'll definitely be watching the stream, 40's stream tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody. Say good night, everybody. All right.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying. For every moment together, I'm grateful, no delaying. Don't forget to subscribe. Click that bell to ring. And if you're liking what you see, give that like button a swing. If this song drops to end, I'll bid you. Fear not, my friend, for this isn't true. So until we meet.